Peace and love. Peace and love. I had to skip a couple of weeks into my new attempt to stay visible. My Let's Talk About the Weather Tuesday mornings. I've been moving, and the wrap up to this transition kept me from being able to get up and get get going with this broadcast. So I'm listening to the American Harris, but she at the beginning of her broadcast is playing Stevie Wonder song. I don't want to. For some reason, I get strikes. I guess I have to put something specific in my what do you call it, description, right? I guess I have to figure out what is being put in the description that makes it okay, because it seems I get flagged so easily. Anyway, what I noticed about her description is that there is a petition to change our DNA results to reflect our indigenous connection. So I'm gonna actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna type that into. As soon as the song is finished, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit, and I think I'm gonna be doing a little genealogy while I talk about weather and what nots. But I'm also don't want to wake up the house. So okay, so I put in first. Let me put the link in too, just in case anybody is interested in. Oh, this is a new too. It's, it's a new stuff going on. Um, some new interfaces here on StreamYard. I noticed when I did the invite. That looks different. You can have up to 6 people on screen at once. Okay, that didn't used to be something that needed to be upgraded. I don't think I did pay for this service for a while, but then I wasn't using the hours, so I'm imagining the hours, the free hours are going to go away. If I need to, I'll just pay for the service. It just didn't make sense. Um, so, okay. So now, what I'm adding in is I'm gonna put just what she has here. Sign the petition to ancestry.com. I sure hope that don't cause a problem. But ancestry.com to change our DNA to reflect our indigenous connection. Okay, and then actual W dot change org/America is our home. Cool. America is our home. I haven't gone to the website here yet, but I will be. It doesn't, I don't know if it's going to be selectable, but this is awesome. Awesome. I'm also going to put a link to this broadcast. Okay, so to do that, I have to go off of the video and this is the link to this particular broadcast. I haven't heard the broadcast yet myself. I have heard her talk about this. Is that a one? Or is that an I? I actually need to wear readers. Honestly, I do. Okay, let's see. I need to make sure if this is a I. I'm doing my Tuesday broadcast. Huh? Broadcast, my Tuesday stream that I've been trying to do regularly. Okay. Oh, I should have put in there that what that is. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. Can I get back in it? Let's see. Can I edit it? No. That's the YouTube link to the video that I'm listening to. I'm going to turn it up a little bit after. It's the American Harris, and the name of it is So-Called Black Americans Are Indigenous to America, and Our DNA Proves It. And I agree. Mm, so it looked like, but yeah, I cannot. Let me see. So that is the American. I wonder if you can select it. The American. Oh, I'm gonna put it in the description later. I just going back and doing things. She plays a lot of music that I used to love. I shouldn't say used to that I love. Music that I love. Okay. What did I leave? My what? What did I what did I leave? Oh yeah. Mia said she put it up for me. So-called black people, black Americans, are indigenous to America. and our DNA proves it. Broadcast July 29th. You don't get up, you don't let them out early? Oh, they've been quieter than normal. Okay. Hmm. So I know it shows the music that is in the video, like the artist, etc. But I actually don't see. Let me read this also. This is a part of the description. It says Native Mexicans do not own the entire identity of indigenous America. The American heiress breaks down DNA and proves Ancestry.com's DNA test actually connects African Americans to America. And then that petition to sign, the link to the petition to sign to change our DNA to reflect our indigenous connection is there. That's awesome. One of the things that I do as often as I can is on the records, which I'm going to um, share my screen. Hmm. Is I'll go in and where I see that it says black, but it doesn't say black. I will change that in editing. So I'll show you. And I wish more of us would do this.
There is nothing wrong with us standing up and telling the world who we are. And quite frankly, it seems some of the only people on this earth who have an issue with that are those they call the natives of Mexico. Why is that? Why is that? Well, through the propaganda, they have led the natives of Mexico to believe that they are the identity and they own all of this hemisphere. And that's just not true. Us, poor branded Negro, colored, mulatto, African American, black, we are indigenous to America as well. And as we have been trying to get the word out, even just amongst ourselves, we are always confronted with the most disgusting racism that is y'all, okay? Because, quite frankly, this issue with the Aborigines of North America wanting to reclaim our heritage and our true titles goes way beyond myself, the American heiress, and the untamed turtle. Even in little groups, we try to create a Facebook group to share some of these truths. Every single time in our spaces, you guys have something to say. You want to sit here and try to tell us where we're from, like we don't know. And that's not right. And so I think about the situation, not long and hard about it. And I figured, because everything happens for a reason, it was just meant to be for them to feel what it feels like, for them to be trying to appeal to the public about a plight of their people and have someone else come in and try to diminish that, right? Because that's how you guys felt, right? You natives to Mexico are so threatened by our existence. And why? You want to come on here and claim that every single dark-skinned person is a West African Bantu? Like that's supposed to be some sort of insult? The people who have true hatred in our hearts isn't us. It's definitely you. And the truth about the situation is, it's not even that you hate any of us, it's that you hate whatever makes you brown on the inside. You hate the fact that your hair might be curly, that you have any sort of melanin. Isn't that your motto? Mejorar la raza? To make
I'm
the
not
race
sure why
better?
I say this person, but I just I just put them in the tree,
And what
no
does that really
attachment.
say?
So I'm obviously either trying to help someone
Why is it
that is
that adding
related to
more of the
me
blood of the
or figure someone out that
who's
is a
supposed to be
DNA
screwed
connection.
over your
But
indigenous ancestors in Mexico, why is their blood making your race better? If that's not self-hate in a nutshell, I don't know.
okay.
But don't project that over here, because we love ourselves. We love our rich complexion, our beautiful juicy lips, our beautiful
So
noses,
because
our
she
kinky hair.
is
And what we're finding out
a
is our
Woods,
ancestors who have always been here
which I would
had
have must
those
be her
same
name.
features.
She must be in the house with her parents. New York. Okay, I feel like I would be saving this family
And so I have to think
because
of this situation that is presented
of a cousin that is also in New York,
between us
whose last name is
and the other so-called brown people.
Lawrence. I'm just not sure. So
Look through some of the comments.
I know that she is married, and that's why her last name is Woods in lowercase.
The
But
government did this and that to
I need
them.
to look at this.
Put them
I'd
in
rather
boarding
look at it
school,
this
strip
way.
them of their heritage. Wow, that sounds really familiar to ours.
So the example that I was going for is here.
They said, we're pretty
This
upset
is what anybody
with some
on
of the things that
Ancestry
happened,
using DNA or
some of the
not
programs
should
that
not
the government
allow.
put in place.
They should not be allowed to
They're pretty upset
change
about that.
Negro
And think
to
about it
say
again.
black
They said,
in
here we
parentheses.
go. We're fighting now each other.
Leave it what it is, at least.
And again, the government
Okay, head, wife,
is
sons,
getting away
daughter,
scot-free.
sons, daughter.
Now, Untamed Turtle
It's the H.
got to see a little bit more of your activism.
I'll be also
And no
try to
matter
figure
what,
out like what is this
even though
H.
you listened to the video, didn't seem to want to share any of the facts or truth that were presented.
Okay, this is the son-in-law, so I know Robert.
Is it because you guys hate?
Because he will not. You have to put these people in.
Prejudice. In all actuality,
This is
so-called black
cousins.
people, we don't really hate nobody. We have been so welcoming,
Barrows.
so open.
Barrios.
All the while, you guys turn around and
So that's a cousin.
Look down on us. Tell us we're nothing.
So I'm gonna work on this for a little bit. I would like to respond and let that person know
you have no clue of the truth of what has
why
happened
I might be saving them.
in America.
So in order to get her husband.
So I want to get on here talking about some your little village in Virginia, please. Richmond, Virginia is a huge metropolitan.
Oh, it's other hints too.
In the Virginia.
So let me see if I see a hint that brings Robert in anyway.
off of that lake.
Then I don't have to put
It
them
ain't no
there.
hut in Mexico. And that's the thing.
I think that's
You
1930.
guys
She's
have
still in
zero respect.
the house with
And
her
it's not just you.
parents.
Everybody on this earth has been taught to disrespect us.
Okay.
I sit here and I think.
So let's see if the other member tree is the person who's asking me a question. No, it's not.
About the things that were being said between both sides. The lack of honor and respect. And why?
So at this point, I'm gonna just look and see if this person is a DNA match with my cousin who is a Lawrence in New
I'll
York.
show you guys why.
And that's not
And I
the
hope you have
case.
your attention.
I'm not gonna go through
This is your
every
opportunity to
DNA
hear
file that I
the
have to
truth.
figure that out right now.
Untamed Turtle, you talked about
But what I am
mastermind
going
plans,
to do is
and that
just
has
look
already
at their
happened.
tree
And they have been using
really
you
quickly.
folks as a placeholder for everything, so that we would be confused
I go to
when it
tools
came to
and view and
reclaiming
tree so
our
I could
land,
just
our
see
heritage, which is already happening.
how they're looking at this
You guys didn't
family.
know so-called Black Americans are reclaiming
Already
land
seeing this line
all
means that
over our nation.
they have Annie Mitchell,
Things that
who's
belong to our
Edward
ancestors
Seniorist's
prior to
wife,
colonization.
having a child that's not his child. So
And that should be
I'm
supported.
following that line really quick.
Just as much as you guys want respect,
Etna,
so do we.
which indicates that
Somebody
Etna
mentioned about DNA. Let's compare DNA. I'm like, okay,
is
let's do that.
probably his daughter.
Let's compare DNA.
They just don't have it connected. I don't know why.
Ancestry.com makes the DNA situation pretty clear if you have eyes to see. And I'll tell you, my ancestors, the Most High, gifted me with the ability to see beyond the veil. And they've tasked me with presenting that truth to you all.
Why Etna is not connected
Scrub
with
Lord, you upset? Why are you so upset? You know what I mean? What
because in
I realized
1910 it's like she's not in the home with her parents.
No.
But she
I don't take
is.
medication.
So
this is serious. This is real. And because the fact that you don't even want to hear what we have to say
it's
shows
like
that
they
you're not
had
even,
to do that
you're
on
just a troll.
purpose.
A dirty little troll who actually has zero say. Because in all actuality, these people have zero power anyway. We don't have to prove shit to them.
So what I'm going to do is, since I'm in this file, I don't have it saved. So if I were, it would be up here. Let's see, did they change? So they had a racist black here. But in 1910, they have them as black, but in 1930, they have them as Negro.
Ice.
Really?
Put into cages at borders. You think their belief in our situation is going to help shit? No. So you can get on with that, Scrub Lord.
So they are in South Carolina.
Let me let you know that.
In South Carolina, they have them. Maybe they were using.
So I thought about it. I said, oh, you know what? Could have been kind of. But why?
I'm just looking.
You guys don't do the same for us. You don't. A few weeks ago, I was in the grocery store, and some lady, Hispanic lady, was being very rude, very dismissive. You know how they do. And not all of them. Because I'll tell you this. I've had some very...
I'm looking for Barrius, the cousin's last name.
Nice
nearby, just looking.
With Hispanic people recently,
you know, why get on the page?
And she was just kind of, you know what I mean, how they don't want to pretend like they notice your existence.
Livingston is a
and I thought about it and I said,
is a
this is because
name that connects my cousin who is a Lawrence with us. We are not sure yet how we both related to the Livingstons, which specific person is the link, but we do know
that's why
that. So just keeping that in mind
right? Some of
because
us Negroes will bend over backwards to
that may have
smile
something
away to get their
to
attention.
do with this connection. But so what I'm
Because in all
doing
actuality,
is
we're not savages.
I'm gonna go back into
We're
to
actually
the
very kind,
savable,
happy people.
and I'm
And
gonna
our
go to the
happiness is going to be
Father,
stripped by people whose power
and
has
I'm gonna
already been
say
stripped. Let me just tell you that. We're going to continue to have
him
smiles
to
on our faces.
himself.
We're going to continue to emanate the light that is within us. We're not going to allow racism to ruin our day. So when we're confronted with people who don't really know if they should say hi and they're looking all down and, you know what I mean, they want to ignore us because they've been taught to treat us like shit. A lot of us have wanted to kind of get their attention high because we didn't want that to turn our souls dark.
So
We don't want to be walking
I'm
around in this
also
world
gonna put
with
the
hatred in our
spelling
hearts.
because I think I saw it with the O more than
But
once.
that seems to be
I'm
the
gonna put
case.
not a new person for
Not that we have
Edna,
hatred in our hearts, but that this world has been
who
taught
was born
to hate
1905,
dark skin, melanin. And that's because we are the originals.
which would leave
Mexicans, did you guys know? Do you guys understand what colonization, what invasions, what that means? And who was doing it? Because race does play a very big part in the story of colonization. Invaders
I believe that
came out of
she
caves,
is Ellen.
invaded every
I
single land.
believe
That
that
is what the
Edna
history tells.
is Ellen. Because between back
And they have
if Ellen is
placed
born
those
in
they found there at the
1908,
hub
she should be
in Mexico,
in
in
this
Canada,
census in
in what
1910.
you call North America,
So by
in
1920
Asia,
or 30,
in Europe. The original people of all these lands were
so
richly complected
not a new
people.
person,
And when you want to get on here and you want to talk
because
about
Ellen
racism
or
and whatnot,
Elkin
like
or Elaine or whatever
skin
here, who
color,
is
and
in
somebody put something
1908,
like, do
she's
you
not on the
skin color?
1910
You are
census.
proving yourself to hate yourself.
So I believe they have her
And your
birth year wrong.
ancestors
I
who
believe
were
she's
of those
Ellen.
complexions are absolutely
I'm
ashamed.
selecting Ellen, but I will also put
They are ashamed of
in
you.
I
Yeah,
will
too
put
bad
Edna
we're not African.
also.
Scrub Lord. You keep wanting to put the ha 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 ha. You guys seem almost slow. You seem almost slow. Because as
So
we
many
show
people are so
the
offended
proof,
as
right?
if they
Because like I
just
said, this is
cannot
for my
understand that
people.
Native
This is for my
American
people. If we
and
look at
Indigenous
America
American
from
are two
Ancestry.com,
different,
give it a second to load up.
completely different people, which I know that is not so difficult to understand. That which tells
Here
you
we go.
that people
Are you guys
are
ready? So I hope you guys are all paying attention. Make sure you flip up this one. Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and get the 1920. I'm not gonna do all of these, but what I'm looking for is that opportunity.
America. This is Ancestry.com because they
So
have
they're
not
still
told you
in
guys the truth
South
about the DNA
Carolina.
results, and it's very, very clear once you open your eyes and see. Okay, America. They have Indigenous Americas for the Andean region, Indigenous Americas for Central, quite a few different 2 regions in El Salvador, 3 in Guatemala. Okay. They have Indigenous Americas, Mexico.
This is a female.
68
This is
regions
not a match.
to break down your people, right? Some of you guys are from the Baja Peninsula, some from central and southern Mexico, some from Michoacan and southern Jalisco, right? This, my people, is what they are considering Native American DNA.
Unless
And if we really get deep into it, it's
this
really
is not a match. This is a male
the
Ed.
original DNA from those places that have been mixed with Eastern Asian.
This is Ellen, who should be matched
what
to
I
this.
really want us to understand here is
so
we never said
Edward
we came from these places.
Should not be
Some of us might,
matched to Edna
and I'm gonna get
or
to that
Ellen.
too. But our ancestors
He
here
must
in America,
be either out of the house already.
we've always been, for the most part, from these areas, right? Some lady said, "Why are you only talking about Virginia? That's a small part of a whole hemisphere." I talk about Virginia because that's where I'm from. That's where my DNA tied me to. Okay?
But he should be
My
on
DNA
there.
tied me to Virginia. The majority
But
of my DNA
again, he
comes
could
from
be out of the
Virginia.
house. So let's just take a look at
Do
the
you guys really
real
wonder how did they do that?
handwritten.
How are they tying so-called black folks
I say
to
real
America? Well, it's through
because
our DNA.
it's handwritten, I guess.
That's
The
the truth.
authentic,
But you know what? They're not going to tell us the
supposedly.
outright
I
truth,
don't trust
right?
that
Because
they
look, it
don't
says
alter
Indigenous
these,
America's North. They try to act like there's no
they
information
being
for these
any
areas. Are you guys seeing that?
people
You
in
guys see
power.
how before
So
when we went
there's
to
the
Mexico, it
son,
was not even 60, it was 87.
a
87 regions
12-year-old.
for Indigenous America's
So
Mexico.
why
When
they
you go
are
to the north,
matching
there's absolutely nothing, right? Now, wouldn't you guys think that's weird?
what I'm
right?
looking at doesn't make
If they have
sense.
broken down everything, they should be able to get samples from each of these states. And I tell you, they did. They did get samples from each of those states.
So I'm
Here's
gonna do
the
the back
list,
key.
right? Because I said, if we look on our Ancestry DNA results, there's a part that says additional communities, okay? Under these additional communities is where all of those states are found. Here we go, regions, Africa.
So the way I'm gonna do that is
America,
not
Asia,
to
Europe,
pull
Oceania, and West Asia.
pull that
Why do they have a
DNA,
whole section
not
dedicated
DNA,
to
not to pull the
the
1920
so-called
file
African
over that way.
American
So I'm
people?
gonna go to
Why are we
hints,
listed amongst these regions? You got to ask yourself that.
and
What
I'm
is
gonna
that?
open up the 1920
Nobody else has that
because
section. Nobody else has a section dedicated to them and their people.
it's
And
very
I'll show you
confusing what
under
they're
the
doing.
African
So I'm
American
gonna
section.
go.
Oh well,
Um,
it has all of
I'm gonna
our
show that
island
confusion
people,
one more time. If I
and then
go
all of those
here,
states. Oh
then
wow,
it's
you know those states they
complicated
said there's
to
no indigenous information for, but they
change.
have them
So
here.
this is the father
Alabama,
who was
Georgia, South
selected
Carolina,
on.
African Americans.
And so if I
Okay,
say
Savannah
yes, I would
River
like
Basin,
to
Macon, Georgia,
save this,
Northwest. That
then
whole
the
entire
father
area
is
is
connected
broken
to
down into
himself.
sections. They just don't want to tell us the truth
The wife is
that
connected
our
to
communities that
herself.
they're calling African American
But
are
Edward,
actually
the son,
Indian
is
communities.
connected to Ellen.
This isn't a laughing matter, and
And
the
I
more that
didn't
like
see
I
him.
realize that the true,
So let me try
even
it
the
again.
true
Next.
or the more true indigenous people from Mexico who have brown skin,
Wife
dark
Anna
brown
is
skin,
connected to
they
herself.
probably understand what we're saying because they have to deal with you guys down there too.
Edward, they're
Looking
trying
at
to
them like they
connect
were
to
from
Edna.
someplace else.
If I do not a match,
Right? One second, let me make sure I got this here.
I have Edward matched to another person.
Because we're gonna go and we're gonna
So
get
who do
into
they
it
have
right
him matched to?
now. Mexicans do not own all of America. Okay. Black Americans are the only
Which is
people
true.
carrying DNA connected to these lands, which is the truth. Okay, we're gonna prove it. But first, before we get into
I'm not
that,
going to try to make
I
no
want to
sense
show
of
you
it
guys
right
some
now. I'm
images
just
from
going to
people from around the world.
connect it.
Here are some Negritos, the original inhabitants
Not
of
a
the
new
Philippines.
person for Ellen.
Okay,
And
you guys
connect
see
her
their
to
hair
herself.
and their skin color.
And
Here's an interior of a native hut in Mindanao, which is in the
so I will have
Philippines.
to add another name for
Because
Ori.
the further you go back into
Some people
history,
get called something
the
different
darker the people
every day
were.
on every census.
It was only through
Peter.
colonization and the mixture of the people that the pale
If
gene came
that
from.
is Peter, I'm gonna put it first.
Here's Bonampak, which is Chiapas, Mexico. This is Mexico.
Brantley.
But I'm sure you guys want to say these people are African too, huh?
Hmm.
The writing is on
Because
the
the
wall.
year is so close.
So who are these people?
I'm electing to put it how I feel it sounds best to come out, opposed to saying
Lord.
Brantley and then Franklin.
You
Brantley,
guys all
Franklin.
have the
I'm
worst
just
names. Scrub Lord, Mexican
putting it
bitch.
how I feel.
That's how I know you guys are probably just
What
trolls.
feels right.
We should
Gerline,
just-
I do believe,
because it doesn't
is
matter
not
what
a
you
new
guys
person.
say.
I
We're
believe
doing
she
what we
is
have to do to unite,
Gertrude, but let me see when
to take back
Gertrude
our
was
land.
born.
Because it was given to us by our ancestors. Let me see.
If it's within a couple of
Exactly.
years,
Thank you, American
yeah,
King Peace.
that
That's good.
that would be Gertrude.
Right.
But
The
I
whitewashing
am
is deep.
going to include
All of history
their name
has been
spelling.
whitewashed.
Okay.
And the only reason why you guys are able to even claim it is because not only have your skin became lighter now through these past generations, but your mentality is just like those who first got off of the
So
ship.
not until they make it to New York
Looking down on our
is
people.
when they,
I'll tell you that's
instead of
that's
beef
your issue,
beef for
not
black,
mine.
they have in
I love
Negro
myself. I love
once
my
they
people,
make it to New
I
York.
love my
So in
culture.
1940,
And American Indian culture
they're
is
in New York
American
and
Negro
they're
culture. Somebody wants to talk about where's all your food?
Negro.
Well, I showed it if
And
you guys
let's
listen.
go back
But it
to
seems like a lot of you guys
1930.
have comprehension issues. And I say
So
that
South
respectfully.
Carolina is using
It
the
seems like
term
all you see is brown skin. And you're like, these are the
black,
people we're supposed
but New
to
York
terrorize.
is using.
Don't you realize you are doing the job of your colonists?
I'm gonna pull the various family out and
by coming on here
start a
and telling us
connection
stuff
with
like
them just
that. There's
to
no self-hate here.
include them because they're in this.
We are the Americans.
So
Okay? So are these people from Africa too? Because I'm sure
a janitor with a
these are
home
some of the
value
people
of
in your country
$9,000
now who have been marginalized,
in
who have been told they're
1930.
from Africa.
I think
Why is
that's
it that people that
probably
look just like this today in Mexico aren't considered indigenous? That doesn't make sense. Like I said, this is stuff that you guys have to figure out with yourselves and your own ancestors. But I want to let the people know, the Afro-Mexicans, Afro-Belizeans, and Guatemalans and whatnot, you guys are the indigenous people of those lands too. And some of your branches were mixed in,
so. The cousins
mixed in with the Chinese
were born in
slaves.
Washington.
Yes, we know about
Okay,
the Chinos.
hold on. Let's look at this.
Those who were declared Indian. And when you guys
I'm trying to see if any other Borises or
well, mind you, that's not so far away.
are near.
A lot of you guys still do that. Mejera la raza. I couldn't even imagine.
Shame on these other cultures of people who just refuse to acknowledge
that's something cute. That's part
obvious.
Of your culture now, right?
Oh, this is Negro British West Indies here. This family, the
from
Butler.
The features of your actual indigenous ancestors that
Butler
we just showed you on
family.
the screen. Because if those are the Mayans, then who the hell are you?
The family is British West Indies.
Like I said, by the government to take it. Now think about it. If you're
Chef
a conquistador and you're pale,
in a
and
tea
all the
room.
people look like this,
okay.
Right? And all of the people look
the
like
next
this.
Family is from Cuba. Okay.
You're gonna tell your mixed child that you own this land now, mixed child.
A son-in-law.
You're gonna tell them,
from
you
Cuba.
know what? You're pretty, but not as pretty as these other white people, right? You're too dark. Your hair is too
Virgin
big.
Islands.
Your nose is too big. Your butt is too big. That's what the conquistadors told you. And instead of telling them, no, I'm beautiful.
And
I am
so
you,
the cousins
you believed it.
Were
and it was those thoughts that made you say, oh, let me try to pick
looks
another
like
white
born
person.
in Washington.
Until they got all the way down to people like those who have been
I know I
hatred.
just didn't talk at all about the weather, but
you guys don't want to be confronted
I have
with that
not
dark
been
past.
able
And that's
to
probably another reason of why
do
you're
ancestry
hated with
over the
indigenous
last few
Americans
weeks
and
either.
Aborigines
A what?
come out
A
and say, hey, we're
ursher?
indigenous to America too.
Oh, what is that? A
Because you guys are so
car
scared,
laundry? A washer?
so damn insecure.
Oh, in the,
You
like
want nothing to do
a
with
car
people of melanin, people of rich
wash.
complexion.
Lunchroom cook.
That we're indigenous to America would be saying that there are
These are what the
here.
cousins in this house are doing.
It'd be giving away your dirty little secret that you guys want to forget about. But we don't forget about
Beatrice that. Could be the cousin.
Mix us all up in America. We loved ourselves too much.
Oh no, those are the children of the cousin. I think these are all the children of the cousin. That's a 16-year-old.
We love ourselves too much.
He's 30.
I suggest you guys do the same.
I believe that.
Because it'd be different if you guys were talking about the fact that you come from these people, but no. You guys are trying to pretend like your image is the
so he's widowed.
then that's
Okay,
not the
but
truth.
he's from South Carolina.
Okay?
His
Here's the Uchi
children
tribe.
were all born,
My
well, two of
ancestors,
them
like,
were
why didn't
born
you
in
show us any of our
Washington
pictures?
and one in South Carolina.
I mentioned in a couple of
So
live
by the
streams ago
time the
about how some
6-year-old
of
is
my ancestors
born,
on my mother's father's side
6-year-old,
ended up in
5-year-old,
Shawnee territory,
3.5-year-old were born
and they were
in
of the Uchi
Washington.
tribes from Tennessee
Okay,
who
just
had mixed in
getting
with
the
the Shawnee
idea.
or the Shawano, right? I love it. It's all coming from us of
We
Chiwali
don't. I
Wali,
don't know what
Chi
these
Bang Bang,
are.
Chiwali Wali, right? That's all. It's all still part of our culture. Those are things that we are still able to
Class
remember
of
from
worker.
our past, from our heritage, right? Here's some more pictures.
Wonder what
Okay.
the E is.
I know you see her hair. Sisters be wearing their hair in the two curly buns nowadays. Okay. Here's some Uchi royalty. Look at the melanin. Some Uchi people. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what is a nigger? It says, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, a nigger is a dark-skinned person of any origin in early U.S. used usually with reference to the American Indians. Okay, so when we're talking about the Negroes being Indian, this is what we're talking about. Now, for those of you guys want to ignore, you guys want to laugh, you guys want to sit here and talk about, oh, well, that's something different, and they were just out in the sun too long.
So
you're fooling yourselves,
the
and you're actually
values of
they're doing
these
their dirty work
houses.
so that they can continue to
This
steal our
person's
land.
house is valued at
But we have been here for forever.
$24. Home value $24.
Hi, Alley Cat Diet.
8,000,
Well, I'll be
9,000,
honest with you, Alley
8,000,
Cat Diet.
9,000.
I'm not trying to be abrasive, but our people have been pushed around to the point where we really are having a hard time retracing our heritage. And I don't know who has made. I don't know what.
What is that about?
What do you call it? I don't know what side of the fence you're on, Alley Cat Diet.
He is.
But
Is he
I
a
don't understand
He's
who
a
has
janitor,
made
right?
the so-called natives of Mexico
At a
the
hospital.
indigenous police, going around telling who can be indigenous and not. Well, that's
Now
not
these people are
okay?
white.
So let me show you guys something.
Well,
Because
this
we
one,
got on to,
white, born in
Untamed
British West
Turtles.
Indies. A chef
Reset this, you guys.
at a
The
restaurant.
Untamed Turtles TikTok.
This person is a.
Now let's listen to what she has to say.
What the heck? Okay.
And I get this.
A dressmaker.
Telling
Proprietress, I guess,
how they need to identify
entrepreneur.
based on their appearance or their blood quantum is a
Owns their own
continuation of
business.
genocide. You are upholding those systems. It's indigenous.
And that's what
erasure.
the E is for.
This is anti-indigenous.
Like
And I get this a lot. Telling an
employee.
indigenous person how they need to identify based on their
Oh.
appearance or their blood quantum is a continuation
Class of worker,
genocide.
a
You are
wage
upholding
worker,
those systems. It's
opposed to an
erasure.
employee.
This is anti-indigenous.
Okay.
And
Now listen, you guys, because I find that interesting.
telling an indigenous person how they need to identify based on their appearance or their blood quantum is a continuation of genocide. You are upholding those systems. It's indigenous erasure.
Now, I find it interesting that all your guys' indigenous.
A lot.
Now let's listen to what she going around telling who can be indigenous and not. When that's not just the truth. Okay? So let me show you guys something because we got on to
These people are so
the Untamed
afraid.
Turtles.
Appearance or their blood quantum is a continuation.
We'll reset this, you guys. The Untamed Turtles TikTok. Now let's listen to what she has to say.
And I get this a lot. Telling an indigenous person how they need to identify based on their appearance or their blood quantum is a continuation of genocide. You are upholding those systems. It's indigenous erasure. This is anti-indigenous. And I get this a lot. Telling an indigenous person how they need to identify based on their appearance or their blood quantum is a continuation of genocide. You are upholding those systems.
So
it's
I
indigenous
wonder
erasure.
if
This is
people
anti-indigenous.
that are
And
Now listen, you guys,
from British
because
West
I find that
Indies
interesting.
telling an indigenous person how
are
they
going
need
to
to
be
identify
considered
based on their appearance or
black
their blood
if they have
quantum
is
is a
everybody
continuation of
who
genocide.
has
You are
NEG
clothing those
considered
systems. It's
black,
indigenous
even
erasure.
British West Indies?
Now,
So
I
the way
find
to
it
do that,
interesting that all your guys'
the way to
indigenous
look at that
rules
is
only apply to those of pale skin. When we've been showing that the indigenous
is to
people
view the
all over
record
the world were heavily, richly complected.
in a selectable
So
manner,
why is it okay
meaning
for
I
you
have to go
to get on here and
view
tell us
record.
who we are? Tell us how we,
And I'm
the way that we
looking
need to
to see.
identify.
We see that
We can't even
everybody
claim
is
the lands that
NEG.
our
There's no
ancestors are
beef or
actually
black
from.
there. Look,
That
they
you guys
double
coming on
blacked
here and
it.
try to,
Black
you
and
guys
black
are from
again.
Africa, like they told our
They're
ancestors in the past.
trying so hard
I don't think you guys
to keep
understand
us
anything
in
about American history,
black.
about what really happened here. Somebody mentioned,
Okay,
it's
it's
the Native
to
Americans owned
view
slaves.
others
You
on
guys
the
were their slaves.
page.
No, that's what they said.
That's the best way to look to
And the reason
see
why I get upset
if they consider every family,
because I know
even if
for a
they are
fact
from
those people claiming to be
British West
Indian chiefs in the
Indies or the
past,
Virgin Islands or
from the 5
Cuba.
civilized tribes. We're not all from the 5 civilized tribes.
So
Those 5
this man is
civilized
from
tribes
Cuba.
were corporations. They were companies. They were set up by the white slave masters.
They consider him,
And they called us free.
and that's wrong. I mean, if I were people
When we were actually the full blood
in
tribe.
these other places, I would insist they
And I
didn't do
know that
that.
those people who called themselves
Generalize like that.
of
Do they do
those
that to white people?
corporations were actually just white folks.
Well, I guess they got
I've seen
W
it in
for
my
white.
own ancestry. I've seen it. I said, wow, how are they?
They
How is
don't.
he the chief when his
You,
ass was
you
from
seldom see.
Germany? And why is it
So I would wonder
that
if that
us,
would
as the
apply
copper-colored
to
ones, the
other
indigenous,
cultures
the people of the land, who
people,
was eating all the Indian
or is
food
it just
like corn,
supposed to be
grits,
all
and gumbo?
black and white?
How is it that we were just some African slaves?
So what if you from
Doesn't
Japan?
make sense.
I'm gonna find out. Okay, so I'm gonna view some others on the page.
So I see what you're saying.
So I remember that this person at the top was white. W was
Alley
W.
Cat diet.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Alley Cat diet.
W for white.
I'm trying to be kind, but
And
this has been a long time coming.
what about
And I
Selena?
understand that we need more understanding. We shouldn't really be fighting each other. But it's not us who doesn't want to accept you.
The dressmaker.
It's you guys who come and troll us on all of our private posts. You guys aren't this, you guys aren't that. Like, who are you? Who said that you guys can tell us who we are? But like I said, we're going to get into the DNA.
So what I do,
because the DNA itself proves that we're actually the indigenous ones. Okay? Let me see. Lord. So we see what is a nigger, right? So that should be one thing. Why you guys want to skip over these facts, I don't know. Like I said, maybe the majority of you guys are just trolls.
so they put one black in parentheses and another black in brackets.
So that we will never
what is this all
be able
about?
to claim our heritage. So you can cast some sort of doubt in our minds. But baby, I've already done my genealogy. And even my DNA has tied me back to America. So let me see. Who are the original Americans? So why, as we were looking at the Mayan drawings, why when we look at this emblem of America
it's a female.
richly complected skin,
she's married.
Okay, thick lips, full figured body, looking right. She's a bad mamma jamma. She's a brick house. Okay, why is this emblem of America? Why are any of her descendants considered still the indigenous ones? These are real questions. We're mad. We're upset. We have anger. It's because
she must be
we have been lied to for such a long time. And even now when we're trying to educate each other,
I mean, I just don't get it.
And they want to sit here and
who's questioning that?
What ain't shit funny about
Who's
this?
questioning
I'm dead serious about
the
this.
black in parentheses and the black in the
Oh. And just to let you all know, when Goppo didn't come from Pocahontas, not the movie anyway,
is
Disney
a Cooper
got that word from the actual records.
Has a daughter with a Hollinger
of our language,
who has also married a Campbell. So she had He might be.
It's like you guys think you're so funny and so smart and you don't even think. Like that's something made up. No, it's not.
Okay, I'm getting sidetracked.
And
But
the
why?
truth is, these people
Oh,
are
because
actual enemies, are actual oppressors.
I was looking at Gonzalez.
Have done very, very bad things
Salvis.
to us and our ancestors. Some of our people, their bloodlines have been made extinct.
This household
Our languages have been lost,
is interesting.
but our culture is still here. Our culture is still here, so we are fighting. We are fighting for our right to be able to stay on this land too. If you guys are scared by us wanting to reclaim images that look like us,
So Ralph Butler had to be naturalized.
think about how we must feel in the future. We're having to pull out things from books. We're having to sit down to try to figure out what has happened here. And that's another reason why it's really important for us as Black Americans, so-called Black Americans, to really come together, to work together, so we can figure some of this stuff out.
Something else that they
The true American Indians
people from
of
West Indies.
These land masses,
Oh, this is
they weren't allowed to keep their heritage. They weren't allowed to keep their language.
It's just a
We were what they call
signature.
assimilated. We were the only people in these areas. It was just us
I thought
and
it
the
would be more
settlers.
information.
That's the truth. But you know, let me see. What else we got? Okay. This came from the British Museum. Why does this not count? I don't know. Right? Then we're looking at the ethnicity estimates.
Definitely people
Early
who are
Virginia,
from the West
so-called
Indies, if I'm not
African-Americans.
mistaken.
Okay, these were all
consider
well-known
themselves
Indian communities.
Indian,
North Carolina
not
Blue Ridge Mountains,
black.
the Little Petey River, the Nacogdoches, the Virginia Tidewater. Here's a picture of the
We've been
Nottawesi.
more
Let me show you guys.
socialized
Like it's
to
ridiculous
use the term
that,
black.
because at the end of the day, that's what we're having to fight against. We're having to fight against
So,
this oppressive system that
excuse me.
has created this big machine.
Oh, I haven't checked back for a
of
while. Let me
lies.
check back.
We are actually
Peace
oppressed.
and love if someone's with me.
I don't know how oppressed you guys
Okay.
all are down in Mexico. I see what's happening with them putting you guys in cages and calling ICE on you guys, and that's not right. That isn't right either. But maybe if you guys had respect for your actual indigenous people, the ones that you guys come from, then maybe you guys would have a stronger front and a stronger stance to fight against. But all in actuality, you guys are just the mestizos, right, of the Spanish and the indigenous.
So let me see.
Meaning
Ralph,
you guys are actually just the conquistadors'
Who is
representation
your-
on Earth here, and you're acting like it.
World Draft.
But here we go. A man and woman of the Nottawesi and travels through the interior parts of North America in the years of 1766, 1767, and 1768. I see, I know you guys see it, the bow, the arrows, the kinky hair, okay, the heavily, richly complexions of their skin. This comes from the Library of Congress.gov. We do come with receipts.
From Costa Rica? Is this him?
We come with receipts. We understand the truth here. And you guys have a choice. So Black Africans come from where? Well, what do you mean? Not all Black people are from the same place. There's some so-called Black people who are actually just indigenous to America. There's some so-called Black people who are actually indigenous to Mexico. There's some so-called Black people who are actually indigenous to the Philippines, like we just saw, who they want to call the Negritas, or the Negritos, or the Ayetas. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I'm not Filipino.
Oh, they don't have to
Right?
fill out
And each one of you guys, as you guys became mixed with the colonists,
Usually
turned your
you
back
have the second
on
part
your
that tells
dark-skinned
you.
ancestor. I know you guys know that to be the truth. I cry for those people. I think about that. I couldn't even imagine
They're so full of
being a
crap.
matriarch or a patriarch of a bloodline
Look at
who
this.
looks at me and what they come from as being ugly.
They purposely
is the
missed the
truth.
back of his card. Is that what it is?
That is the truth. Do I need to make it a choice? I'm not answering to you, Scrub Lord. Whoever the hell you think you are. Pick a continent. What I want to tell you is I'm not from all the rest of the continents. Just as like you guys want us to leave the Olmec stuff alone, y'all are going to definitely have to leave North America alone. You're not from all of America, but we are. Our blood has tied us to it. Because
So
the biggest
he
thing
doesn't
about
have a
these
back
dang
of his card,
communities
of course.
we are the only ones for these areas. There is no so-called Native American communities, according to Ancestry.com, from these areas. Now, how about that, huh? Not one Native American community. So if you're saying you're a Native American or an Indigenous American from Virginia, there's only two types of communities that they would be able to place you in. You're either from the African American ones, right? We just saw the definition of American, the copper color Aborigines, right? You're either from the American communities or you're from the settler communities. That's the truth. And what they have done, dang, I didn't get to show you guys that. You're either from the African American one or the settler ones. And what they have done is they have shown the
draft
Mexican
card
image,
isolated
the
to
Native
show
American
only the
image,
front so that
as
you
all
do
of
not
America
know
to confuse us.
what
When
the
all
back of this
actuality,
card says,
our issue are with the settlers.
or the second
and they know
portion
it.
of the card.
They know that.
And then you
They know
limit
whose
to here.
heritage they
That's
have
on
actually
purpose.
stolen. Because cornbread, grits, gumbo, that's us. Brown skin, that's us. Those they were calling niggas, it's definitely us. And the fact that we even have to do this is sad. It's sad. But I'll come up here every single day if we have to. And not for you, Scrub Lord. 1963. God dang. And you're an elder at that, acting so childish. Like I said, I think you're just a troll. Okay? You don't run anything up in here, Scrub Lord. Right, exactly. Thank you. Big Chattahoochee, Chief John Doe. Where were they when Martin Luther King was marching? Okay? Martin Luther King, after he passed, they created an act called the Indian Bill of Rights. Did you guys know that?
And the other cultures
The
and
Civil
people, they
Rights
don't want to
Act
know
was
that.
also known as the Indian Bill of
They
Rights.
probably would tell people straight out, I don't
This
care
isn't
what it
fantasy.
say.
They were from America. Duh, that's what we're saying. They were from America. In fact, I have time today. Let me pull up a little bit of the speech from Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King tried to tell us back then about how we were made exiles in our own land. Okay? No, you're dumb, Scrub Lord. I'm actually extremely intelligent.
Yes, she is.
I've got brains and beauty. And I'm not going to allow you guys to come in here and sit here and try to take us off the land. We've actually been here for forever. That's the absolute truth. We've been here forever. Because where are the Native American communities? Why don't they have anything for America, Indigenous America's North? Why aren't there Native American communities for that part of the land?
I believe.
Thank you, Alley Cat Diet. I appreciate that.
Cuba.
Because it's like, that's the racism we're talking about. And the same entity that we should be banding together to overthrow off the land, it seems like a lot of you Native Mexicans have become. You have become that oppressor. Hating that which makes you indigenous, which would be the melanin. Okay? Like, I can't with that. It's so frustrating. But yes, right? The Nadawesi, are these not Americans? Where are their descendants, Scrub Lord? Right? Do they not count? Please. So we're going to get into it. Like we showed you guys, there weren't any... there aren't any Native American communities for these states. These are our lands. And when you think about it, When has there ever been a Mexican in Mississippi? When has there really been a Mexican in Virginia? Yeah, there might have been immigration to these lands within the past 15 to 20 years, possibly, but it's really within the past 5 to 10.
That's the chef for the
There have
people.
never been Mexicans up in the South. It was just colored people and so-called white people. So why is it that you guys feel you guys have ownership of Virginia? Why you feel like you have ownership of the identity of
When
of
I was
the
thinking
Mississippian
sooner or
culture?
later they would make you
Or
could be
ownership
where
of
you
the
could
identity
be select the people from
Kentucky,
this
Ohio, Connecticut,
handwritten.
New York. It was just our
But you
people.
can't.
We have been
The only way to
colonized.
select
We're trying to
is-
tell the world this. We're trying to get our act together.
So in
So that
this
we don't
case,
have to
I'm
be
gonna
in
just
this
do it
oppressive
for them.
system
I
anymore.
do it for as many people
And a
as
lot
I
of
go
you guys
into the
seem to be
record for as I
trolls.
can. But more than
You
likely,
know? And I think about it
Ralph
because, like I
and
said,
Viola are not considered.
as a spiritual leader, we have to
They're
keep our
considered
hearts in check.
Indian not.
It's very easy to
Right.
allow the anger, the hurt, the frustration to bubble over.
So what
and
you
allow us
do
to
is
attack one another.
you add or update
We have been
information
put at the bottom for such a
or
long time.
report a
We
problem.
want that smoke with
Choose.
anybody. But I had to think about it. I said, no, we have to redirect this. We have to stay
Right.
focused.
See, they don't have the choice of
We have to stay focused. But it is hard. It is frustrating.
they don't have a choice of race.
I think about
really.
my
I
daughter.
haven't done it in a while, I guess.
You know,
but I thought race
Alley
was on there. I guess maybe. Just
Hi, Alley
maybe.
Cat Diet. What you said really touched my heart. And you're helping to bring me back to truth. Bring me back to something real, right? And I don't, like I said, because more people are listening, I don't want that to take away from my true nature.
This is what we need to do right here.
Which is
I think this is
sensitive.
different.
That's how I'm able to see things, right? Because I
That's what we
feel
need to be
what's
doing.
real. My daughter had created a little video, and she started off like, hey, I'm trying to like you, but you don't like me, so I don't like you back. But I love my family.
How about
We're
that?
nice on the inside. I would show it for you guys.
It's a transcription
You guys are
error
so
because
racist. I would never put my child up there for you guys to sit there and say the
it's
disgusting
not
things that you do.
transcribed right. It
Because
doesn't
all in
say
all, as
black.
we're telling the truth,
They
we
need to
ain't never
start
come
putting
out
it
our
there.
mouth and call you no damn wetbacks. None of these other things that to try to degrade you.
And then I usually go in
And I don't play
here
about my
and
babies,
put.
and that's why I don't play about my people. I'm a mama bear, and I don't play about my cubs. And that includes even you guys listening. I will go to war
They calling
for
it
us.
race.
For our rights to just be free here.
The ethnicity.
But when I heard her read that,
Is that the right
sing that
word?
song from
Yeah.
her heart about how we're trying to like you, but you don't like me, so I don't like you back. I realized that that's the energy that this truth has put me in.
I
Because in all
put different
actuality-
things, but I'm just putting
Sorry,
something here.
In all actuality, I grew up amongst all of the rest of the nations of the world. I was that Negro who was the token black of her friends, of her school. My best friend growing up was Mexican and Salvadorian. And I loved her. But when I started to awaken, when I realized the truth
That's enough.
that some of these people
At least that will show. At least it will educate people.
Because my mindset, my
I wonder
heart
if they
was already
take them
put
down.
into a box of subjugation that they do to those
Now,
of us who
I
have
want
truly been
To go
assimilated.
to the person that I'm saving,
I realized what it is.
and I'm gonna do.
And I decided, it's like, if you don't like me, I don't like you either. Fuck you, right? But how is that going to get the world?
Let me see. Let me try to report a problem.
To a better place. It reminds me. Sorry, y'all. Shit, I might have to light my little joint. But it reminds me of when I was a school teacher. Yes, before I started this, I taught English and theater at a high school. I was a full-time teacher, high school teacher. And the majority of my students are Hispanic, or were Hispanic. I live in a big Hispanic community, which was actually originally a black town. I don't know if people in this area know that. Those are stories for another time. But my students who might be listening, I know they're probably thinking, Miss Stonewall, you might have changed. And I have. I'll never forget that last day of school with all of you who I loved. I spent so much time with those little kids that year because it was all day at school, because I did the after school programs. I spent most of my lunches, working with different clubs. I did the Black Student Union, I did the theater club, and even helped with the GSA, right? I spent so much time with those people. I spent more time with those students than my own baby that year, I realized that, love you, American Queen. I realized that, don't let me lose my train of thought, but, that I was dropping my own daughter off to spend so much time with these other people, right? And as much as we loved each other, myself and those little Hispanic kids, right? There was quite a few things that came up towards the end of the school year, right? And maybe it's because the every day that goes by, our awareness, our consciousness is becoming bigger and brighter. We're able to see things. But I remember, one of them mentioned something about skin color and about how it was like something about these khaki shorts, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not that dark," and I was like, "Oh, hold on, no, wait, let me say something."
Now,
don't say that.
The information.
You know what I mean?
Also,
and I realized
you gotta
that
start pushing back. Like,
if
nobody say nothing, ancestry gonna just do whatever they want to do.
The colorism and colonialism as us.
You gotta go into info
they
to
just
get to
might
the
have
race
attained
part.
the skin color that maybe makes that pain a little less.
Negro, indigenous. It can
But
stay Negro. That's what the writers say. But since you're gonna change it to black, why aren't we doing this?
It's painful within itself.
Why are we leaving it black?
I remember they had pulled out. I said, it's the last couple of days. Go ahead, y'all pull out your. They had the loteria, which is like the bingo, Mexican bingo, and one of them has this thing called the negrito, which is a black man, right? And they're like, "Oh, Miss Soul's gonna see." I remember one time another student. This was the last day. They all wanted me to add them on Twitter and stuff so that we could stay in touch. And one of the little Mexican girls had a background picture of a little so-called black boy watching TV eating Cheez-Its. And I said, "Oh my God, who is this little boy? He's so cute. Are you related to, who is this to you?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know him." I said, "Well, why do you have him on your Twitter?" She says, "Oh, that's just an embarrassing me." I had to think to myself, what's so embarrassing about a little brown boy, a little so-called black boy, Negro boy, eating a snack, watching TV? And the truth is that we can't even be ourselves. You guys are embarrassed. You're embarrassed by anything that makes you indigenous, that makes you who you say you are. And that's sad. And that made me want to disconnect from that. I don't want to be smiling in people's face who I know really look down on me. That's not going to happen. I made this channel to show you guys the truth about things that I've noticed through the movies, through the DNA, through whatever, through the history. And also for us to be able to reclaim our own love so that we're not 3 generations in the future and nobody looks brown anymore except for small pockets here and there of Americans. That's where we're going to. Do you know how quick it is? Do you know how fast, how many generations it takes for someone's bloodline to turn white? That's what happened to you guys in Mexico. I don't want that to happen to us here in America. Not to say that there's something wrong, but I love myself. And there's nothing wrong with me wanting to still see people that look like me in the future. Now listen, Flip Carrillo, this isn't cultural appropriation. What am I appropriating? Our DNA ties us to America. In all of the records and counts, it says that the Negroes are America. The colored people are the Americans. We are the only people who have been here. We're trying to actually tell you the truth. But you don't want to hear that, right? Because you're racist. Right? It's hard to be alone sometimes. It's exactly what it takes. And that's fine. Exactly. Shatsahaya. That's the truth. Because I think about this and it's like, wow, I would love for more people to understand. But at the end of the day, to still be Negro, or whatever you want to call it, to still have brown skin, full lips, and a big nose, or whatever you want to call it, that is a very exclusive club. And all of the prophecies, right? All the prophecies are about us in this moment. And just as they wanted to cast us off into a little corner in the side, that's the same. Not everybody is invited into our club. Right? Right. So, let me see. Let me read what I was talking about here. Talk about. Okay, y'all. So let me show you guys, because these are just trolls, right? But like I said, it's very, very clear, and we're going to do something about this too today. I'm just going to get through this, but there's a lot that's been on my heart, and sometimes I don't want it to always just be lessons and showing proof, because it's like there's other stuff that needs to be healed in this world, and like I said, there's stuff that I want to say. Shoot, we're talking about towns and town life in early Virginia Indian society. Here's some Virginia Indians, right? The quality of life in Indian towns declined in Virginia after the English arrived and began to encroach on Indian land, okay? Now, here's the encroachment. When we look at those communities from Ancestry.com DNA tests, right, the additional communities, there's only our communities, African Americans, right? And then there's the settlers. These are the same lands. They were encroaching upon our lands. Why? So people want to sit here and say, oh, those are just slave communities. I think you're misinterpreting. That doesn't make sense, because if they can pull from a slave community and get some DNA, information or whatever, material, then they could definitely pull from Indian ones. And what I'm trying to tell you is it's one and the same. They enslaved us here in America. That is what police brutality is all about. That's why they were hanging us in the past. Think about that. To be empowered with taking over someone. Of course, you're going to sit here and just say, "Oh, we brought them there." That's their go-to move. But that's not the truth. We've always been here. It's only been us. Then go back, ask the oldest person in your family, if you're a so-called Negro, right? Ask them who was here in America, right? In these lands, who was here in the past as they were growing up? They were going to tell you, oh, there was Negroes and white folks. And before the white people came here, it was just Negroes. And like I said, I do this for us, not even the trolls. The trolls are going to think and believe whatever they want until we get our things together, and then they're going to have to understand and learn. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine, because that day is coming. That thing is coming. That day is coming. Okay? Because in all actuality, this government, the settlers here, who have been so scared that the Negroes would one day wake up and realize the truth about what has happened in America, they know the truth. They know the truth. And everybody in the world will too. That's another reason why, like I said, we have to come together. We have to have each other's back. Just like these people have each other's backs, we need to too. The only difference between us being a strong nation and the rest of these nations that are still around is the fact that these people have backup. And we have been put in some of the worst conditions that we have fought each other. I'm even just talking about us, so-called African Americans. There's been such little resources. We've actually snaked each other in certain situations.
But they're gonna say too much.
Felt
Too
so
much.
desperate that instead of
Lettuce.
wanting to work with one another, we'd rather take. And we're gonna have to heal from those wounds. We're gonna have to heal so that we can come together and be that backup for
So
each
what
other.
am I missing?
Like, this is big. This is bigger than just fighting with the
I
so-called
typed
Native
too many
Americans,
letters.
right?
So how many can I take out? It
It's not
says
just about them. This is about us here in America, where we have always been from. Let me keep on track. But do you guys see that? Southwest Mississippi and Baton Rouge, African Americans, right? Southwest Mississippi and Northeast Louisiana, Southwest Mississippi, African Americans, right? And then we have the Southwest Mississippi settlers, Southwest Mississippi and Greater New Orleans
just keep
settlers,
trying.
South Mississippi and South Mississippi and Alabama Gulf Coast settlers. It's all the same, okay? It's all the same.
Okay.
Meaning that who was there first? We're the ones that they want to put American by, okay? The settlers don't have that designation by their name because they're not from here. We are. They just don't want to tell us the truth. They're making a lot of money off of us not knowing who we actually are. Okay? Here we go. Chesapeake Bay and Delaware Valley African Americans. The Chesapeake Bay settlers, the Delaware Valley settlers. Where are the Native Americans? Okay, the Delmarva Peninsula African Americans, the Delmarva Peninsula settlers. That is just the truth. It's just us and them. Okay, now the additional communities are well-known Indian communities. Okay, here goes the Little Petey River or the Petey River African Americans. When you search, because these are really specific, right? Why would they have that community here for us? The Little Petey River. When you look up the Petey River people, it'll automatically tell you that these are tribes, Indian tribes. Okay? For instance, the Natchitoches, Louisiana. All you have to do is type in Natchitoches people, it'll tell you that they're so-called Native American tribe from Louisiana. We are the indigenous people of America, of those states that they try to say that there is no indigenous information for. Are you guys seeing that? Right? There's no information for Louisiana and stuff, but they show us the Natchitoches people. They show us the Little Petey River. They'll show us the Virginia Tidewater, which would be Pocahontas' people. They're only our communities. It should really be clear. But on the actuality is we are really having to fight an extremely oppressive system. And there's a lot of money in making sure that we're in the dark. That's why they have these shows like Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates, who is a liar, who is a traitor to our people, who knows, I'm sure, the truth, that we're actually what they call the Aborigines. Okay? The Aborigines. You know, Flip Carrillo, this is what you do for a living? Right? You want to sit here and spew racist things to people? Come on now. Here we go. Petey in the house. That's what's up, Original American 92. Petey in the house, right? We actually come from these tribes. Our blood, our DNA is attached to the land. Somebody want to say, oh, those are just slave communities. It's like, how is that? As people were getting off of slave boats, they were taking their DNA and saying, this is where you got off on. That doesn't make any sense. We've migrated. The majority of my people are now in California. My branch, anyway. California, some of us are now in Texas. How do they know we have anything to do with Virginia if our blood and our DNA isn't tied to that state? Okay? These are well-known American Indian communities that they have put us in, right? We can go through the list. We can continue to pull it out. Hold on there, y'all. Wait a second. The Carolinas, the North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains, African Americans. Evidence suggests that humans lived in the vicinity of the Blue Ridge after the last ice age as early as 11,000 years ago. The Cherokee Indians were the major Native American tribe of the Blue Ridge region. So why is the North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains called an African American community? Don't sit here and say, oh, the natives didn't have a chance to put no indigenous information. Get out of here. Why? They did it for y'all down in Mexico. These are the indigenous American samples. They're just calling us African because they think they conquered us. That's the truth. There's only one North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains community, and they're calling it ours. We are the indigenous ones. Okay, now listen, it says that they were interacting at times with Piedmont or foothill tribes to the east and other Iroquois tribes to the northwest. Now, if we look, it says right here, the Virginia, North Carolina, Piedmont. It is in the same exact subsection from that list as the North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains. That's because these tribes were the same, and we are of these tribes. This is huge. I hope you guys are hearing what I'm saying. They are trying to lie to us, but the proof is in the pudding. They have Blue Ridge Mountains Indians, and then they said that they interacted with the Piedmont. We have that Piedmont here. We have that Blue Ridge here. What do you have to say about that, mestizos? Right? We shouldn't have to prove to you guys. Just like you can get up here and say, oh, I'm Native American and all this stuff. Nobody says anything to you. Nobody says anything to the Filipinos about where they're from. Why is it that when we have to say where we're from, that it's an issue? Why? It's because you've been brainwashed by the colonists to keep us down. Why? Because they have been actually enjoying our land, and you are too. If things were so great in Mexico, people wouldn't be trying to come over here all the time. And mind you, I'm not even one of those type of people because there shouldn't even, these borders and stuff were created by the colonists. But it's not right for us to continue to be encroached upon, for them to be trying to be deceptive. Ancestry DNA knows exactly what they're doing. And I see it clearly.
Really?
Clearly. You can't deny stuff like that. We are those people.
I don't believe it.
We got any North Carolina Blue Ridge people up in the house tonight, you guys? Represent. Let's see about that. Oh,
that is not more than 500.
Represent, y'all. Right, like I showed you guys. A man and woman of the Nautawesi.
1.
This is from the Library of Congress.
3,
Our
4,
people have been
5,
here.
6, 7, 8,
American
9,
Indian food,
10,
cornbread,
11.
grits, gumbo.
11 lines.
Why is it even when we show you our
Even
culture,
if 11 lines
that's not enough?
was 20 words.
Well, I'll tell you, it's enough for us.
That would not be 500.
We see the truth. We're not
500
self-hating.
characters.
The American Negro has
characters.
culture. We always
Maybe.
have.
So
It's the same exact culture. We've always been the cornbread eating, the grits eating, the gumbo eating people. Our oppressors have come. They've tried to literally bury us. They wanted this information to never be brought back. Because if we understood who we were, we wouldn't want to work in their society anymore. We'd be realizing, hey, you guys owe us something. Way more than just reparations. They owe us restitution. They owe us the land back.
okay.
Ancestry.com. You guys owe us for pain and suffering and damage. How many of our elders went to their graves with their heritage stripped from us because of your misleading DNA results? Right? There we go. Here we go. What's good, Kels? 314. Greens, fruit preserves, smoked meat. Thank you. Fried meat, too. All of those things are indigenous. Like, we have culture. We have culture. You know what? Let me show you guys something, okay? Period. Where'd that go? There you go. Peace, Dominique. I saw that. I want my shit back. Period. Right? That's it. Okay, there we go. Barbecue. Right? Barbecue. That's a huge. Hey, Miss Sugar Baker. What's good, sis? What's up, relative? TJ Phillips. Here, let me show you something, sweetie pie. Since I don't think you're understanding. You still think this is a joke. You still, and whether you're doing it purposely or you've gotten paid or you're just one of these people. I'll do it for free, white man. Let me come and try to mess with the Aborigines. They are handing it back. So what the hell are you talking about? This is the type of stuff that's like, that's why it's like, we really don't need to be dealing with trolls because it takes us out of our, our own character where we're happy and we're kind. I'm actually a very kind, loving person. I'm just tired of this shit. I am. I'm so tired of these people sitting here trying to bully us. Don't bully me. Worry about your own people, whatever the hell you guys got going on there. Hold on now, not this. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second, you guys. I should have had it ready. Since you want to be funny.
That's 500 words. I just don't believe that's 500. I mean, I keep saying 500 words, so that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
9 days ago. Ha ha ha. I'm sure they're happily hand the land back. Forehead. Yeah, they are. Let me show you how stupid you're about to feel in about half a second, TJ. LA County will return Bruce Beach to the descendants of a so-called black couple who previously owned it. They are returning the land. Okay, this is just from 9 days ago. There's a whole bunch of stories about Bruce Beach. This has always been our land. And we're actually reclaiming it. You think it's so funny. And you know what's so crazy about it is? That movie, Wreck-It Ralph, where they showed that the black people are actually the landowners. At the end of the movie, they showed all of the people like you who want to troll us and stuff like that. You guys felt stupid as shit when the truth came out. So go ahead, continue to try to mock us. Continue to try to mock us. You're going to feel really, really stupid. They're coming on our chats to distract. That's true, Pony Locks. I should really ignore. But at the end of the day, it's like, shoot, we ain't got no, you know what I mean? There's nothing to hide. Thank you, Jacinda Bloomfield. That's facts. Peace, you guys. Welcome. Facts. Thank you, Eugene Page. Right. And so my thing is, it's this. It's like, we're taking our land back. We didn't know. We are actually the heirs, the descendants of America, who have been kept in the dark so long. All of that Jim Crow Reconstruction, that was them moving us around, creating different policies so that we wouldn't be able to live here for free anymore. And at the end of the day,
how much more
people like us, we have such a fighter spirit, and truly, it's like I have been awakened, really, for that issue right there, and so that freedom can be alive again, so that we won't have to be working. Think about it, Mexicans. How many of you think about the students that I used to teach? Their tios, their tias, and stuff like that. When they were in the hot sun, picking damn strawberries and tomatoes and shit, as farm hands, or what do you call that? Seasonal workers and stuff. Which there's nothing wrong with it. But if you guys are actually the indigenous people, people,
still 500.
right? So you
So
say,
1,
wouldn't you think that you guys should have a little
2,
bit
3,
of an easier
4,
life
5, 6,
than having to
7,
pick fucking
8,
fruit
9,
for a damn
10.
corporation who don't give a shit about you? That's gonna turn around and not even really let you guys have any of the fruits and vegetables of it unless you pay for it? I would think so. I'm talking about freedom for everybody, because those of us who are actually the representatives of Earth, the ones that they want to keep down, because you want to keep us down too, you're only fucking yourself up. That's the truth. A million damn people in one house. You guys are living it like it's all good, Mexicans. And we could work together, but you guys have so much damn self-hate. When you see people like us who actually care and love about ourselves, you guys want to say it's some sort of joke. It's funny to you. Ain't shit funny to you. To us, there's nothing funny about the situation. You guys don't own indigenous culture. Because you damn sure don't own grits, you don't own cornbread, you don't own gumbo. You don't own feathers. I wear my feathers because of feather medicine, animal medicine. That was something my ancestors have always done. This is a hawk's feather, this is a raven's feather. My hawk keeps me on point. Just like the hawk, being able to see above and be able to zero in. Go in and tear the head off of a poisonous ass snake. I wear my hawk feather for a reason. I wear my raven feather because ravens brought messengers. They were the messengers of the animal spirit world. And I come and I bring messages for my people. Black doesn't mean anything. Black is the status they gave to us once they were able to strip us of our culture, of our spirituality, of our heritage. But we still kept our culture, our spirit. Now, I'll give you an example. So about a year ago, it's been a long time that I've been, not even really that long. It's only been about a year and a half or so that I've been doing this. But some time ago, let me see if I can find it. Let me bring it back a little bit. I came across a ritual done by some of the Indians in the South. I think it was like, what we're about to see. I came across this ritual and I said, oh my God, this is something that we still do today. Are you guys hearing? Okay, so-called Black people in America, I need you guys to listen very closely, really quickly, okay? Listen. The customs, the culture, the things that we even do to this day came from the fact that we are indigenous to America. Okay, I'm about to prove it. Listen to this ritual that was surrounded around something called black drink. Okay, I'm gonna make this big, and I'm gonna give it a second to catch up. Hold on now, y'all. All right, so listen to this. This is black drink. I don't know why they have it so scrambled. It was a little bit. I don't want to do that. Closer, but listen.
American Indians, and it was kind of like I'm looking on this up this black drink, and black drink was a traditional drink for American Indians, and it was kind of like our coffee, and we used to drink it during ceremonies and all types of stuff. Now, the interesting part about it is this, right? In 1696, Jonathan Dickinson, who was a European, he had witnessed the use of this beverage, right? We actually called it yapun. The Spanish called it casina or Indian tea. Now, he says, after the liquid had cooled, the chief was presented with a conch shell of the beverage. The chief threw part of it on the ground as a blessing and drank the rest. Don't you love that, right? You poured out a little bit for the homies. Pour out a little bit for yourself. Right here at 1696, here's an example of our people pouring out.
Right, do you guys see that? The account said that the chief took this drink, threw some of it on the floor, right, as a blessing, as an offering, and then drank the rest. He poured it out for his homies, right? And that's something that we still do. Everything that they taught us about us, our culture that was ghetto, was actually American Indian culture. we are still the same people of the past. And that was another part of it, because I grew up amongst all the rest of these nations, okay? Because I grew up a so-called zombie, one that, what do you call it? One that didn't have the opportunity, right, to have all of the culture, right? They weren't teaching me all about this stuff, or even saying that it was valued, right, back in Catholic school, right? I had no, well, mind you, I know about that ritual and stuff like that. But do you understand what I'm saying? Knowing that some of us are taught to look down on that, even within our own culture. So I get it, Mexicans, right? You're just trying to fit in with the same people who is raping your actual indigenous ancestors and sticking swords up their ass. That's why you guys are probably so crazy right now. It's because the conquistadors were the Spanish were the worst colonists. Let me just tell you guys that. The stuff that the Spanish did down in Latin America and in the Caribbean was some of the worst accounts of colonialist bullshit that I've ever come across. And I actually feel sorry for you guys. I do, because that's the reason why you guys have done created models, like I said, like Mejara la Raza. So you guys can get away from, you guys have self-hate. And why? It's because you guys were confronted with such savagery that were the conquistadors, that you guys stripped yourselves of all those things. But when I realized that, I said, wow. In fact, those that we consider the ones who are from the ghetto the most, those are the ones who are most in touch with our Indian culture. The things that they call ghetto is actually Indian. Rolling blunts, that is Indian culture. We used to smoke. In fact, shit, 1 second, y'all. Let me see. Where's that book? While we're just looking around. Hold on 1 second, guys. So I got one more for you guys. 2 seconds. Yeah, big blunts, right? Facts. All right. Let me pull this open, you guys. Give me a second. Because I read a lot. This isn't coming from a fantasy land or self-hate or whatever the hell they want to say. Hey, peace, original Copper Empress Holbrook. What's good, sis? I already did post my tribe, Flip Carrillo. You just don't listen. Especially if you saw my last one, I showed you guys. I showed you guys how they called all of the Indian descendants of the Virginia Tidewater colored people. We are those tribes. That's what we're trying to explain. That you have been so brainwashed that you think your mestizo image is the actual image of the actual indigenous people. When in fact, the ones, the dark-skinned grandma and grandpa that you're trying to pretend like you ain't a part of, they are actually more indigenous than what you are. Let me get out of here with that. Come on now. And you guys want to turn turn your heart away from those people. Hold on now. Let me pull this up. Hold on, you guys. I'm not gonna find it. I'm just looking. So I'm looking at the Indian world of George Washington. Now, mind you, they show us a mestizo-looking person too. That's not what the Indians look like. The Indians, does that person look like they were eating cornbread? No. Or gumbo? No. Or anything. That's actual. And what's so crazy is when you look at the actual history and you look at the culture, it's like, how are we appropriating anything? How can we appropriate cornbread? How can we try to take somebody else's culture? Gumbo is our stuff. Rap, dancing, singing, that is our stuff. That they will also tell you is indigenous to America. These people are crazy. So it's like, they're just, in mind you, they're just trolls. I can see it's probably a white guy laughing behind there. One second. first thing I read in here? Hold on, y'all. Because when I read this, I was like, ooh.
When you think about it, other people here, whether they were from Africa or anywhere else, that's just like people that came here from other countries that were considered white
So
people.
in
If
this
they
book on
mixed with the
page 2,
indigenous Americans, they would
right,
have called themselves
it mentions
American.
that in accordance with
Whether they
Native
did or
American
not, they still
diplomatic
called themselves
protocol,
American.
everyone present smoked and passed around the long-stemmed pipe in ritual preparation for good talks and a sacred commitment to speak truth and honor pledges made. Okay? George Washington himself would smoke with the Indian delegations that came to us to the White House or whatever, right? Where were we at that point? Not the White House. He was in Philadelphia at this point. But that is something that we do. And mind you, we have been taught that's ignorant. That's ghetto. You can't be smoking. That's part of our culture. We are that. Mind you, even look at all the, let's see. Because people think I'm not trying to attach myself to anything that is not of us. Let me show you that. Where do you go? Indian cigar. Statues. What is that?
They just don't want this to be, because I really don't believe.
A lot of these Virginia Indian, whether it was tobacco ads, whatever you want to call it, marketing stuff from the past, they will show you the true image of the Virginia Indian. Since you guys want to be so funny. All you have to do is type in, you guys can do this at home, including you, mestizos. I typed in Virginia tobacco and put in Indian, and they start to show you. Look at them with the feathers, the dark skin, the people from Virginia, they called Negroes. Okay? Now, this one is very interesting, right? Because they show us here in our Indian status. And then you have to scroll up. And these people sat down and they said, you guys are our slaves, which means continue to do the things that you were doing, cultivating the earth and whatnot. But we're going to take a portion of it at the end. Like we owe them something. We don't owe these people anything. And that's what we're trying to say. That's what we're trying to get across to the rest of the so-called black people in America so that we can do something about it. We're not passive. We're ready. We want our freedom. We want what was been promised to us by the Most High, by the fact that we've always been here. Do you see these people with feathers? They are the same ones that became the slaves. It doesn't get clearer than that. Okay? Let me see something. All you have to do is Google it, Flip. But it's like, in what world is this even okay? For you guys to feel like you guys can, and like, who does that in the real life? Would you do that to somebody at the store? They came and they say, who are you? And I say, oh, I'm of the Powhatan Nation. It's okay for you to say, no, you're African. Who do you think you are? That's the truth, and that's why I have grown to have the energy of the song that my baby was singing. I'm trying to like you, but you don't like me, so I don't like you back. It shouldn't have to be like that. Everybody else can say where they're from, but what? My skin color is too dark to be a Virginia Indian? When in all actuality, we showed you guys the images of them. We showed you guys who they were calling niggas. We're not trying, there's no other race for these areas. It was only colored, no, sorry, not that one. Colored and white. And we showed you guys the communities. And my thing is, it's like, you guys should understand. You guys should understand. It's the same government who's done this to us are the ones, like I said, are putting you guys in cages, having you guys work for 10 cents a damn hour, picking fruit in the hot ass sun. That's not okay. And now both of us, as the black, so-called black and brown populations of America, those ones who might actually have the way to connect us back, why are we fighting each other over this? Why do you guys think that that's okay? Like, that's just, it's disgusting. Not that we're trying to, oh, you guys are trying to attach your guns to we want to be everything but black. No, baby. We are the soul people. We're just trying to let you know that we're from America. Okay? Pouring liquor out for the homies. Our people are still doing that. So let my brother open up a bottle of some Hennessy. We're gonna pour out a little bit for the homies, all right? And it's okay to do that. They just told us, they try to demonize us, demonize our culture, show us different images so that we would be lost. We're not lost. But when you guys are coming over here and saying that kind of stuff, you're actually on the side of the people that you say that you guys are fighting against too, which doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. So I know I've been talking, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot on my heart today about this stuff. And I want us to, let me show you guys. Why do I talk about Virginia? Because these are my people. And I can use them as an example to show other people. Because a lot of our people didn't know any of this stuff. Okay, the Indian Notes and Monographs, a series of publications relating to the American Aborigines. Okay? They didn't teach us that America had Aborigines, but this is it right here. So you guys want to talk about some Wabo or whatever? I don't even know what the hell that means. You guys talk about cults, but you guys have formed this cult that goes and chases around other indigenous people.
I guess
your
that
indigenous
could do
rules matter to everybody except for people with the dark skin of the land. That doesn't make sense. Okay, the Indian Notes and Monographs, the series of publication relating to American Aborigines, it mentions, okay, that on every hand, we are told by those who remember the stirring times of Reconstruction that the numerous Indian descendants, all numerous too. These are just when I show you guys the pictures of my ancestors that I found in the encyclopedia that fit the time and place in this description to show you guys what those Indians look like. It wasn't just them; it was everybody. All the Indian descendants were induced by the carpetbaggers to assign themselves to the status of colored people.
Right here
now, I
in
know
the
Mexico's
black
gonna
bracket,
be like, oh, we're people of color.
it should be another bracket that says Indigenous
We're talking
American.
about Virginia and the South. The colored people were Negroes.
How fast will they put that?
And then right here, it should really be this one highlighted. Virginia Tidewater. They're talking about it, right? The Indian descendants all over the Tidewater. They were called colored people. That's why they're showing us. Yeah, here's the Tidewater community. And instead of it saying Indian, like we know the Tidewater community is, it says African Americans because after Reconstruction, we became colored people.
Indigenous,
that is clear.
West Indian.
This is undeniable.
So let's see if it changed on the other person.
Okay. Taking a closer look at these people, let me quickly do it. It's like, shoot.
We need other people to do
Described
this.
later as a plain man, well liked by his fellow citizens, Cox became interested in politics during Reconstruction, it began in 1870.
We need other people to go in and add Indigenous American to your family.
Okay. In July 1869,
we need to be hard on that.
African Americans voted for members of the General Assembly. He won one of 3 seats representing Chesterfield and Powhatan.
There you go.
Powhatan. Like I just said, those are the tribes that come from the Powhatan people are Pocahontas' tribes. Okay, which?
So I could,
tribe
since Negro is already there,
Pocahontas
I could take this up. Could I edit this?
Okay. Pocahontas lives.
Yeah. Okay. I put the link out in the chat. Peace and love.
She was the daughter of Mohasenaca, more commonly known today as Powhatan. Okay?
Peace and love, y'all.
Pocahontas
Oh,
was
it's so
a
good.
Powhatan Indian. They're showing you guys the colored folks. Her people.
What
She
is
would be
this? It
considered a
says,
colored
"What
person
is
today."
your
Like I showed in
passion?"
the last one. That's what I'm saying. You guys didn't even watch the
I
video.
think that's what you're
The
asking.
Pocahontas exception was for
Um,
the white people who have stolen the identity of the Powhatans. They want to say, we came from Pocahontas. We've been here
peace
since
and
the
love,
beginning.
everyone.
Our ancestors were the ones
Halito.
shooting the niggers.
Assalamu
Right? They
alaikum.
wanted to continue to claim
KSR.
Pocahontas as the ancestor. But the government
We have
has
not
taken
talked in so
exception for
long.
them
We gotta connect.
because all of Pocahontas' true descendants and family
What is
were considered
your
Negroes.
passion?
And that wasn't acceptable for the
I
Virginia white
believe
elite.
at this
They wanted
point
to
in my
claim
life,
Pocahontas
it
without being
is
considered a Negro. We're not making shit up over
exposing
here.
the truth of who
And the only
we
reason why you
really
feel like
are
you guys can disrespect the information
as a
in
people,
us is because we're brown.
that our
And that says a
erased
lot more about you than anything.
history is important. That
Right.
it
It's like,
is
come on now.
what creates
You guys are mixed with everything. Spanish, Asian, all types of
the
stuff. But you guys
lack
can
of
claim everything and plus all the rest. No, you can't. And watch us start a petition. You know, we'll tell you
pride
guys can't claim shit
and
over here.
self,
Let it get specific. Right? Because you have
the
nothing
lack
to do
of
with
connection
Pocahontas. You have nothing to do with Virginia.
to
You have
this
nothing
land,
to do with any of these other states.
causing
Let me show you
displacement.
something.
I believe that is what I am most passionate about. Exposing the truth.
Where'd it go?
And you have to be very careful with how
And
you
these people
do
are
it.
so
Do that, because to tell the story,
so damn. This
you
government is such a
gotta
liar.
stay
You know what I
alive.
mean? They know that they came here and they colonized us. They enslaved us, the Indians,
So it's
the
like
Americans. But here we go. This is from the
the
Georgia
difference, I think,
Encyclopedia.
between
Yes, we're moving over. Look at
demonstrating
this. These are the Georgia trustees
with
and some
hostility,
Georgia
the
Indians.
hostility that is
Okay, look at the feathers. Look at the brown
very
skin.
well understood,
These are
or
people who they
demonstrated
consider
by
Negroes
just,
today.
a continuous
Okay.
process
This oil
of
painting by William
exposing the truth
shows the
and
founders
trying
of Georgia, the
to
Georgia trustees, and a delegation
reach
of
young
Georgia
minds,
Indians in July
to
1734.
encourage them
Okay.
to look at the information that is
We have a
available
right to claim our
themselves and
ancestry and our
filter it
history, and we're
to
doing it.
come
We're
to
doing
their
it. So you
own
guys can laugh and do
revelation
whatever all
of
you
the
want to.
truth.
You guys are going to be the ones looking foolish.
I'm gonna
Looking
put
foolish
my
in the end. But as for our people, we have a lot of work to do.
I'm going to. I think
Like
you
I
should
showed
be able
you
to
the
go to the private
legislature, who
chat.
invented cornbread.
I'm
We
not
even go over
sure
that.
if you
Let me show you
can,
this.
but I'm gonna put my
I know
email
I showed
in the
them,
regular chat anyway.
but for those people who need a little extra
Please
something,
email me. Let's catch up.
cornbread, we press it. Whose food is cornbread? Cornbread is a quick bread made with cornmeal associated with the cuisine of the southern United States with origins in Native American cuisine. The Indians were eating cornbread. That's our food. Okay? Now look, this is so interesting, right? Because we just showed you guys that the Indians were called colored people, right? Or niggas. They're even talking about in this one.
So
it also raises a question. So many southern food traditions are shared by both races. Both meaning two. Both meaning two.
So if you email me,
most
I think
Southerners,
that,
black
let me make sure I spelled it
those
right.
are the only people in the South. Revere fried chicken.
Yeah, if you email me, then I'll be paying attention and I'll contact you. I want to see how you doing with your genealogy.
They're talking about food in the South.
My phone number changed
and
too.
And white people got all of these ideas about how to cook these foods from us. Oh, sorry, you guys didn't even get to see that.
Thank you all.
They got this from us.
Stopping by me.
No, not this one.
You know,
where'd it go?
I'm just
okay.
Wanting to continue
Dang, you guys
to
weren't seeing that.
share what I have to give.
We're talking about whose food is cornbread,
and to encourage others to do the same.
We all know that the Americans,
share what you have
Americans
to give
from these areas were the colored folks.
In
That's
a way
what was going
that
on in the South. It was just black
keeps
people,
you
white
healthy.
people. White people showed up one day, started to try to
we
kill
do
us,
have to move carefully.
Around, massacre us. It was crazy. That's what slave catchers were for. They were for the free people of color, those who they haven't already been able to enslave on their plantations, enslave within their little cities. We were free at one point.
I'm gonna try
Now
to go
we are
back and
not.
put this in the description.
But
I have a lot to do,
when
but
we
I'm
go
trying.
here, why does sugar and cornbread
This is
divide
what
races
we're
in the South,
listening
right?
to.
They talk about how
The American Harris.
right. It also raises the question. So many Southern
And I
food
don't know if
traditions are
that's
shared by both races.
selectable
There's
because
only
I
two
can't
races in the
see it
South.
as selectable.
Okay,
The
so-called black and white.
YouTube channel.
And
Make
all
sure
of
you
these foods
subscribe
are
to
American
her.
Indian: fried chicken,
And
cornbread,
this
everything, gumbo, jambalaya.
this is
That's an
the
American Indian food. Peas,
petition to have Ancestry.com
beans,
change our DNA
red
to
beans and
reflect our
rice.
indigenous
Those
connection
are
to
American Indian food.
America.
Beans and cornbread, right?
That's what I am
Beans and
on.
cornbread. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Beans and cornbread out of sight. Right? You guys know that? We're talking about our culture. There's nothing else that we're trying to connect
Peace
to.
and love. It's just really
Except for
here.
us. the American Negroes who are misclassified.
Akia.
Negro.
Peace and love to you.
Really Indians in
Okay,
the South.
KSI.
We had our own names before people came over here and wanted to color
Thank you for noticing. You know, I'm not
Why is that not
big
surprising
on
to you
really
guys?
like
Right now, I know
trying to
those
push
of us
the
who
channel.
are connected to it, we feel it. But these people
Every
who
time
want
I
to troll, they want to ignore things like that.
show
That doesn't mean anything.
or
Yes, it
say
does.
certain things, it's so quick
Like
that
I said,
they
we can use anything we want to. We have been
block
backed into this corner
the
with all of these
information.
people trying to tell us who we are, what we can do, and what's going on. That's not okay.
So I'm not
Don't
sure
try to
why
strip
I
us off
get
the
it
land
so
like you think
quickly,
that we're
but
trying to do you. We're not.
I'm trying to be
Care less what's
careful
going
so
on
that
in
I could
Mexico, let me tell
continue
you
to
that.
share.
And that's no offense.
But look, this petition is important. Like Ancestry has no
Grits.
business doing what I was
The
showing.
original dish
They have
originated
no
from the Native
business. I'm gonna
American
share the screen
Muskogee
one more
tribe,
time.
okay?
They've been
And
doing
the
this
last one I
for a
broke down the
while.
whole
They were
thing,
not
how it's
doing this
related
when
to
I
the
first started
Chickahominy.
Ancestry, which was
That's
about
real.
5, maybe 6
Let me
years
show you
ago
guys.
now. When I first started an
Let's
account,
see what else I
they
have
were
over here.
not.
We have
I
these
don't
images,
remember that.
photographs, full of vintage cornbread. Now look at this part, right? The traditional native cornbread of the eastern woodlands. Cornbread muffins. Hush puppies. Y'all know hush puppies, the thing that they were saying slaves were using, right? Did you guys know that the people who were enslaved in America were actually the Indians? Who are the same as the Negroes? It's all one big story. Hush puppies, corn pone, and Johnny cakes can trace their ancestry to the original cornbreads first baked, boiled, and fried by the Native American people. Now they're showing us this, the traditional native cornbread of the eastern woodlands. Now look at this. Here goes the woodland map, right? It is the same area that they're trying to say that our communities are the only communities
So
that they
what you
have.
do, you go
listed for
in.
Ancestry.com.
Everybody needs to be doing this.
Indigenous America's
Add or
They
update
do not want to
information,
tell us we're indigenous.
and you
So
update.
honestly,
Now
forget
they make it
the
not so
trolls.
easy.
This is for
You
us
can
to
get to
understand.
name, birth
This is for
year,
our eyes
gender.
to focus. This
You
is
can
what
get to
we
some
have
of
our
that
eyes
really
focused.
quick.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, instead of
We're gonna have to
me
uncover
doing
it
it on this
ourselves.
one again, I'm gonna copy and paste this.
They're not.
Can I do that?
They might not tell us the truth.
Because I'm
But
gonna
when we
start
come
adding
with
this
the
too.
facts and the proof, they're having to hand it over. Because they can't have this fake ass society without any.
I'm gonna do to another person. Just because I did that for Edward, I don't know if it does it for his whole family. Let's see. Did it do it for his wife?
Okay, they're gonna have to honor it.
No. So
we are proud. We are brave. We've been through a lot.
I'm trying to
when I
figure something out with this family. Why am I saving this family? I usually try to put a note in the oldest male of the
powerful spiritual bloodline
portion of the
ones that they
family that I'm saving. So if I only got 10 minutes to do some work and I drop Mr. Edward Lawrence into the tree and his family, and then I find his father and drop him into the tree, then I'm going to take his father. He's the oldest male of this drop in, and I'm going to put a note in the okay, so let's see. He was born in 1885. Maybe I can find him in 1900.
I come from an extreme royal line. Mind you, that's not the only one.
Is it in
when I mentioned that Joseph Smith in the original Mormons called my ancestors up to Independence, Missouri, I was dead serious about that.
It's not. So I would have to do a search.
My grandfather's grandfather
and I usually try to
was born,
put in
or was it his great grandfather? He was born in Independence, Missouri during
the
that time.
title box. So
And I
now
know,
I have
mind you, when you
to
look
try
at
to
that
find
story,
him
when you look at the
in
story about the Mormon
1900. I
Wars,
actually will
Missouri,
have
the
to.
1830s, they're
I
going to
could,
tell you,
well, here we go.
right, that the Mormons, what happened,
This could
why
be
is there
him.
a war? Why? It's because Joseph Smith had some sort of revelation that told him that actually this is the old world, America's the old world, the Garden of Eden is here.
Okay. So in this case,
that
if
God's
this is
chosen
him,
people are those they call colored. They don't teach this in modern day Mormon because after they
Beaufort,
were able
South
to
Carolina.
chase them to Chicago, then they chased them down to Utah, to what is now Mormon country.
Well, he's the right
After,
age.
mind you, the
He's in
Mormons
South
fought.
Carolina.
They fought
That
for
don't
us.
mean
You
it's
guys know
him.
that they fought for the free
So let's
colors
just
before.
say
In all the modern day accounts,
I'm going to take a
they say,
chance
they
at this
invited the
time.
Native
Usually I
Americans. Let me show you
go
guys.
through a whole
Because people want to be funny.
another
And we're
process.
just
So
showing
the
some
one
proof
thing
tonight.
that I could do is I could
Let me
look
show
on
you
the
guys.
page and see if there are other Lawrences close by.
And this is if you guys
See if it's any,
this doesn't show you guys
of the cousins that were in
you
the
might
house that Boris
had too
name.
much of a high dose
Various.
of the jab or something. I don't know. So this is very, very clear. Let me show you. Mormon War, 1830s. Let me show you, because this, mind you, when I read this account and I started to dig, I said, oh, okay.
So
okay.
I don't have really a way of knowing if this is the right Edward. What I would do is be looking like, did any of his brothers follow him? So I could select his brother Jesse here. Or let's say his brother Ben. Let's go with Ben.
Oh my God, this is so deep. This is a deep, deep story about the Mormons, okay?
And what I'm looking for is suggested records, because maybe Ben went to New York also. Let's try Jesse. Okay, so maybe Jesse went to New York also. Let's see if Jesse is in 19. He's still in Beaufort. Who is he with? He's with a wife and son.
Here we go.
Where is he in 1940?
The story of the Mormon
looking to see if it's any hint.
Who
So
the
he
American
still
Negro is more than anything. This is a huge revelation, okay? It says right here.
So he never left.
In the 1830s, Mormonism commanded center stage in Missouri politics.
We have
Joseph Smith and the
Edward
church he
in
founded
another
in New York
place,
State
but in South
in
Carolina.
1830 quickly gained converts, attracting considerable attention throughout the northeastern United States. Originally named the Church of Christ,
if it's an Edward
and
nearby
became
him,
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Believers were referred to as Mormons. Because of the church's adherence to the Book of Mormon, their companion scripture to the Bible, wherein the story of Jesus appearing to the ancestors of Native Americans is told. Okay, that same year, Smith dispatched a handful of missionaries to Missouri's western border to preach the restored gospel to the Native American tribes concentrated there. Now, you guys hear this,
and I'm
right?
sure that's probably
Missouri's
his brother.
western
See,
border.
28.
This is where my people
So
are
that's
from.
not my
My
Eddie.
people are from
There's
the
Ben.
western border of Missouri and the eastern
See, they're
border
just in
of
separate
Kansas.
houses now.
Kansas stands
But
up.
they stay together.
Independence,
Most people stay.
Missouri stands up. Black County, Missouri
My
stands
Edward.
up. You guys know who we are, okay? The Book of Mormon, their companions. So let me catch up. In 1831, Smith proclaimed that God has designated Western Missouri as the place where Zion would be gathered in anticipation of Christ's second coming. His small band of missionaries soon became a steady stream of converts anxious to establish Zion in Missouri. Are you hearing this? Now listen. What happened was the white folks, okay, in those areas,
Hopewell. He's in Aiken, South Carolina.
He invited the Native Americans because
he's 29.
The Native Americans were Negroes and they're slaves. They didn't want anybody
I want to see. There should be some other Lawrences close to him at the age of 29.
An Indian and a Negro is knowledge of self. So mind you, if you're able to capture
my pattern to know that
sell them down the river,
people are not so far away from each other. Bad.
Okay? But there's nothing different between them and the other Indians that were living around, the three colors, and this story proves it, right? And they were so mad they started a war with these people. Now listen, because when I read let me get to it, you guys. When I read
he was a farmer then.
This story about the Mormon War,
So,
and
did he have a child? He didn't have a child before that, that would have
Independence.
been in the
Missouri. I
1900
should show you guys the birth
census.
certificate so you guys know I'm not.
But by him
I'm
being
dead
in
serious about
Aiken,
this.
I usually
know
look for the
exactly who
oldest
I am.
person
You guys
near
can't sit here and try
him
to tell me that. And how racist are
and
you?
see if I can
They
find
believe that the
them,
Native Americans were descendants
like
of
Laura
Israelites.
right here.
Okay, this is what the Mormons
Laura and
originally
John
believed.
Johnson.
Okay, most Mormon immigrants to Missouri, which at the time was a slave state, came from areas which were sympathetic to
They're older
abolitionism.
than him.
Now they were
They're
calling.
from South Carolina.
Hey, where does it say
They're
that?
neighbors.
Evening.
I don't have to save to see. Let me go down and see if we. So look, this is a William Whiston.
Give me a second.
Is actually 60.
I should
So
just
he
do this
around some,
separately and have it all set up
old
for you guys,
timers.
so
I
it's like,
say. Look at
Lord, and here I go trying proving something. But
these old timers, or they're not that old, but I should be able to find them in 1880.
1 second, you guys.
Even Curtis Livingston, I should be able to find in 1880. I'm trying to see if he's a farmer. Yes, he is. They're farmers. So they all might have been farming the same area. I know that scrolling can be a bit much. So what I have to do to find
This
Edward
is insane. Hold on. Mormon War of 1830.
earlier
Bring it back.
is I have to
Because it made it very, very
view
clear.
all people.
Who knows, maybe I might even have it in this original one I was looking at. But
On the-
basically, they
view
have put
others
out
on the
an
page,
ad
but
in
it's
the
not
paper. I don't know
selectable
why.
until I
It
do
seems like a lot of the
view
stuff, I'll
record.
be honest, I know this sounds crazy, but a lot of the stuff that I put in, because if you guys want, I have a bigger breakdown of it. It was like literally the first video on my channel, American Heiress, talking about what was the connection between the Hebrews, the Moors, and the Negroes, and the Indians. And it's all really the same thing. Go back, using the name.
I'm gonna go with Curtis.
This is serious, and I'm gonna show you guys. Hold on a second, because it's not over.
Let me
But
see,
it
here's
seems like every
Curtis
time I put something out
in
there, they are
1900.
going on the
Likely,
internet
it's a
and they are
suggested
scrubbing the
record.
information, which is
He's in
absolutely
Aiken,
insane,
but a
okay?
place called Tabernacle.
But let me show you guys. The Evening and Morning Star, they put an ad
So
out
then
in
I'm
the
gonna
newspaper,
view
right?
and see if
to
I see
get
any
the Native
Lawrence's
Americans
nearby.
to come to Independence,
Mr.
Missouri, so that
Curtis,
they can
10
rebuild
years
the Zion
younger.
and
He should be
biblical prophecy.
50-ish.
In
50-ish. So that would make Edward Lawrence like 19, because he's like 29. This broader name is interesting, but they have W for white, even though you can't
These are the
always
archived papers.
brother-in-law. So we know it's Curtis. So
Just
let's
search
see.
and go there right here. Black.
Okay.
You know what we're gonna do, y'all? Is we are just going to pull up the other one so we can see what source of it. So this is serious, you guys. Because I heard Untamed Turtle talking
I'm just
about how
going
they're
to
pulling
page
down
up and
people's
page
pages
back.
and, you know what I mean?
I see the
That isn't
Catskill
right.
name.
We're
I'm
going
looking
through
for
the same
any
thing
name,
here,
honestly, right
where
now.
they've
There's
been trying to
Whiston.
purge the information so that
A
we
nephew.
wouldn't know, we wouldn't be able to trace back. This has happened.
I
They
just
erased
remember
my
that last
grandfather's
name.
information off of some Trail of Tears stuff,
And I
which is
thought
not
I remember
okay.
a Catskill, but it didn't have the Mac on it.
Hold
That's what I thought.
Evening and morning. Hold on. Sorry. Here we go. We found it. Okay, so you guys look at this.
So
Check
go
this
back
out.
to the 1910. And I'm looking again to see
So they
if
started,
I see
the white
other people who
the
were
slave masters, they went
on
out and
the
they were fighting these Mormons
1900 now.
because they said you're trying to tamper with our
Because I'm pretty
slaves.
sure I saw Catskill.
Let me just bring it over here.
You know, and I
hey, you guys,
just
welcome.
think there's
Thank you guys. We have 198 people up in here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure you guys hit the like button so that we can continue to bring some people up in here. So, in this original one that I was looking about this, let me see, which one was it? Trying to find out what the page was so I can show it to you guys in real time. Oh, yeah. So sometimes you have to dig deep. Hold on 1 second, you guys. It was about Temple Mount.
There's McCaskill right here.
You guys
So the
have no clue about the true history of
McCaskill
America and how
family
this was
is
the
in
whole
the
world.
same area.
So look, if you search Temple Mount,
That's Miss
I was researching
McCaskill.
this, and they were giving us all
So
the
that tells
different,
me that that family and Livingston were in the same place in Aiken, even though it's a different township. It get intricate. It gets intricate. But I was trying to ultimately find Edward earlier. And I'm also ultimately trying to figure out.
This is why I like to pull things ahead of time. I know you guys got me this Mormon story, but still, I want to find it for you guys. Let me go back. Maybe it wasn't exactly that.
Why am I even saving this family? So what I was saying is that the way that I leave notes for myself when I'm dropping a person in the tree, obviously I'm interested in Edward's son's family because I've saved him and his wife, but no other people. And I'm really trying to just answer a message that someone sent me
when we researched Temple Lot, Lord, like I said, I've researched so much stuff over the
wanted to know more about, why I had them in the tree. Now, I want to say this.
Exactly where I read
anybody can save whoever they want to save. There's no
they start talking about
reason you can't save any family you want to save. I don't have to answer questions like that. And there are times that I do not answer questions like that because it's my research. I could be researching someone for someone. I could be researching someone that is a neighbor because I'm trying to find someone. I don't have to answer to people. But sometimes I do want to answer.
Most particularly slave owners. Now, are you guys hearing this? Okay.
And
are you guys
possibly further the knowledge about what I'm looking for too.
Because you always have to cross-reference.
But
right?
I didn't put a note in why I was saving this family.
Was about the
Am I trying to
that they invited the Native
figure
American
out a match?
To,
so I usually put it in the eldest man of the drop-in. As you see, this family is not connected to anyone. They're not connected. This is just one family dropped in the tree. It don't go further down or further up. So somebody in this small portion is of interest to me. I take the oldest male.
In those areas that I just showed
I try to take the oldest male. If it wasn't him, maybe it would be one of his sons, and then I add American the surname box. So I'm gonna add a father. I don't know who his father is, so I'm just gonna add and I'm gonna just put father of. I used to put father of, and then I go in the suffix box and I type Y. So I'm gonna say time to figure why
everybody knew what they were calling free blacks or free people of color. And when I looked up that evening in Morning Star paper, I said, let me see if I can find the archives, because I always like to get the main thing, right? So let's look. It says July 1833. So let's look for that July 1833
and then I'll date it, so I know the last time I was at it, because his son I had put in that I started saving in July of 2020. So 8, I think it's the 3rd of 2021. And then I put my initials because other people work in my tree. and I try to get
So
them
it
to work
says,
in
be
my
it further
tree
enacted that
the same way I
hereafter
work
no
it.
free Negro or
So
mulatto other than a
if
citizen of
someone else
someone
were
of the
doing
United
this,
States shall
they
come
would put
into
their
or
initials, and
settle
I
into
could
this
say,
state under any
okay,
pretext
that's my
whatever.
sister or
And upon complaint
my
made to
niece
any
or
justice of the peace that such
nephew or
person in his
whoever,
county,
son.
contrary to the provisions of this section, he shall cause
They're the
such
ones
person to be
saying.
brought before him. And if upon examination it shall
Okay.
appear that such person is a free Negro or mulatto,
Now one more
and that he hath
save
come into the
of
state after the passage
information. So I'm gonna go,
of this act, and such person shall not produce a
and I'm just
certificate
going
attested by the
to.
seal of some court of record in some one of the United States, evidencing that
I'm
he is
just
a
gonna
citizen of
go
such
to
state.
a
The justice
specific
shall command
person.
him forthwith to depart from the state. And in case such Negro or mulatto shall not depart from the state within 30 days after being commanded to do so, as I said. Now, mind you, who said that these white folks can command us to do anything? We have always been here. Even in the future, they want to tell us that those are the so-called Native Americans. They're always using these socio-political terms. Okay, but what this really is because they were inviting the free people of color to prevent any misunderstanding among the churches abroad respecting free people of color who may think of coming to the western boundary of Missouri as members of the church. We quote the following clauses
I
from the
thought I was
laws of
going to
Missouri.
his
So they have to
profile.
put these laws out there because people were very, very upset that they were bringing
So I have
us
to go
into
back
the
to do
area
this
as God's
stuff.
chosen ones. Why? Because the whole entire difference is this.
So they have
The
him as black.
Negroes, right?
I'm
Who
going
are some
to,
of us,
even though the transcription is not wrong,
I have so
so
many documents that show
I
us
would
that.
like to find one
The
where it says
Negroes
Negro.
were those who
Or
have been put into some sort of
in
system,
1880, I think they
right,
might
where
have him
they are working
as
every day for something. You
mulatto.
can't have
So
free people
I'm going to
around
go
enslaved people
and
because the enslaved people are going to say, hey, that person looks exactly like me, and they are doing what they want to do. On this time, when Massa told us we're supposed to
I'm
work,
going to view record. You
they
have to
didn't
be
want
in
to
view
incite
record,
bloodshed. So let me see if I can, because there's more to this
and you
archive
have to
that actually. So that was just the
update
see if I can
information,
move it down. I was saying 1, 2, 3,
and then you
4.
go.
So it must
You
be on the
choose
other
the
page.
reason
Let me show
why,
you guys, so
and
you guys know what I'm doing. You guys
they
can
do
look for
not have
yourself.
race in here. They got name, residence. You
If we
could do
go to
that
July 18,
right from the
1833,
start,
the reason why they don't
but
have
you
another,
have to go into info
because
to
mind you,
get
look,
to
before this,
race.
they were able
And
to
behind
pull every
mulatto,
month. June
I'm going to put
June of 32,
indigenous
July of
American.
1832, August, September, October, November, right? All the way down through to 1833, June, July. And what happened in July of 1833
And
that stopped them printing? They didn't have another one to print till December. Oh, I'll show you guys what happened.
I can explain.
The
It
slave
says
masters,
optional.
so
You don't have
mad
to, but I could
that
say.
these people were telling us the truth about who we were, they started
I'm
to
just going to
group
put
them,
in
right? So it
Control
says,
V, and then
after
I'm going
they
I thought
the
I,
law
okay.
setting out requirements for free blacks to come to
And then I'm
Missouri.
going to just
So that was what
say,
it is. It was like they're trying to let them know, okay,
since
you still have
this
to be some sort of
doesn't
citizen
apply
or
in
whatever,
this
so
case,
they could be
I'm just going to put,
legal right.
because
The
he is
Latter-day
later
Saints had
considered
been
black,
experiencing considerable
or
friction with their
earlier
neighbors
they
in
had him
Jackson
as
County
black.
prior to this event. But Phelps' publication
I'm
proved
gonna
to be
leave
the
it
last
just like
straw for
this.
many non-Mormons in the area. Most particularly slave owners. Wow, right? Enraged that the Mormons were apparently bent upon showing blacks that there was an alternative to slavery in Missouri, they burned the newspaper plant and tarred and feathered Bishop Edward Partridge and the church elder Charles Allen. The process set in motion by this event would end with the Latter-day Saints being evicted from Independence and the surrounding Jackson County area later that year. Okay, and mind you, even when I look at this, I'm realizing this is why all the rest of these communities, even now, the Mormons are actually kind of racist. After their original start was to try to uplift us, these people, those who are always proved that they're down with the establishment, who are on the side of slavery, they want to prove to Massa that they are going to continue to keep their knees on our
But
necks.
I think everybody should really start going in
Mexicans don't want to continue to
telling the truth.
I get it.
They correcting
treated those
some
Mormons
things
like niggas themselves. We can read it right now. There's accounts of them. So if we go to the December one, they start to explain everything that happened. This was such a fascinating story to me. They started to explain everything that happened between July of 1833 and December. This whole addition to the thing was about that. And they're going to explain Okay. So
Okay, I'm gonna just take out this because
more than a year since, it was ascertained that they had been tampering with
maybe
their slaves. Now,
that
mind you,
will
this is
do
from
it.
the
Let's
slave
see.
owner side. They put this in their paper so they can
I have to
kind of like
choose the
keep track
reason.
of all of the things that was
I
being
have to
published
say
about them in
information, not
this war and this issue.
transcription
Okay?
error.
Because more than a
So
year since,
I'm
it was
gonna
ascertained that they had
say
been tampering with our slaves and endeavoring to sow dissensions and raise seditions amongst them. Of this, their Mormon leaders
I'm gonna just say
were
information, not transcribe. Why do they
informed,
put
and
black
they said that
behind
they were
Negro
Indian
shit?
members
I
who
mean,
should again, in like case, offend.
what's
But
their
how
reason?
special
We gotta have a
are
reason to put
appearances
something
in a late
behind
number of the
what they
Star,
get there,
published
but
in
they could put it
Independence by
there
the leaders of
and
the
don't
sect.
have a reason.
There's an article inviting
So let's see if that does it.
free
Okay,
Negroes and
good.
mulattoes from other states to become
All right.
Mormons and remove and settle amongst us. This exhibits them in still more odious colors. It manifests
Oh,
desires on the
anyway,
part of their
that's
societies to
that's
inflict
my
on our
example. So
society
now let me
an injury
go find
that
one
they
where it
know
says
would
Negro,
be to us entirely insupportable. Now, what
and
is
then
that
I'm
injury?
going
By
to
bringing
close
free
it.
people among their slaves.
So
Nobody's going to
let's
want to be a
go
slave when they
to
realize that we can have
one of his
freedom.
children.
Just like it said right here in this one. Where'd it go? I should close down some of this stuff. Right, it says that
Let's see what they
the
were
Mormons
calling
were apparently bent
Rudolphus
upon
in
showing blacks that there was
1930.
an alternative to slavery in Missouri. And if you guys didn't
Negro,
know,
see?
we're living in it right
And then they
now,
put black in parentheses. That's them
including
doing
you
that.
Mexicans,
It don't say
even
black.
worse than us.
Why they need to do that?
Even worse than us, you guys are in this slavery.
I guarantee you it
You
don't
guys want to sit
say
here and
black. It
try
just
to look
says
down on us,
NEG.
please. We built this country. And
It say unable to load.
right. I mean, honestly, Eagle
You
Hawk
can still
Condor,
see.
I don't think Flip is a
This
native.
is
I think Flip
Ivy.
is
This
probably
is
some white
Rudolph.
guy in here trying to just mess with
Oh,
us
and
and
we
cause
looking at
dissensions.
his
Renee was
daughter.
so mad at them and yada yada.
Anyway,
And they're mad at
there
us.
it
It's
is.
like, honestly,
NEG,
we don't
color
need to be putting out that.
or race.
I know we're frustrated. I know we're
NEG.
upset. But we have to. I realize us as being the mothers and fathers of
You don't see
civilization,
no beef.
no matter
black.
where we are from. You understand what I'm saying? Whether we descend from the Aborigines of America,
There's no
Mexico,
beef for black even
South
on
America, Africa, Australia, the Philippines,
down.
regardless. We have to set the example of how to act, because what it is these people are acting like the barbarians that they also descend from. That's the truth.
I'm gonna do
And because we are now enraged by that feeling, we start to act like the barbarians too. But we come from love, baby. We come from love. And so, although it is hurtful that these people want to turn back around and try to shit on us, we still have to show them how to act.
I get it.
And I'm being serious. I'm honest. For those natives out there of Mexico, if anybody's ever told you that your skin was too dark,
just like enlarge
or
it.
that your hair was too kinky, I'm sorry you had to hear that, baby. And there's nothing wrong with your skin color or anything else that shows that you are a person of this
just
land.
create a little chart that
You
I
are
can
loved.
create as a part of a.
Because anybody who's actually talking like that,
Well, anyway, enlarge it and create a chart. Start printing out some
their
stuff for
spirit
the
in
book
their heart
that I'm
is
writing.
of the colonists.
You
know, that's why they're allowed to go around and do this.
They shouldn't do that.
In present day. So it's not that we're saying, oh, you have
so
blood
on the
and that's why you can't be.
1930,
No, it's because the way you're acting. That's why you can't be considered indigenous. Because if you were confronted with your indigenous ancestor, you would tell them they were from Africa.
You have to view record.
Okay, what's good, Cajun Fire? Peace, y'all.
And then this is new. That first it was just this,
so
and now it's both. But I don't.
You gotta tell me. Put out the pronunciation.
Maybe that's
good, my Moorish brother.
That's on other records because I see 55
good,
here.
Producer X?
Maybe that's on another record or.
What's good, Kia Mitchell or Kaya Mitchell?
I don't know.
Hey.
I bet I can't get nobody to answer questions like this on Ancestry. I'm gonna make a phone call and record it.
So, now mind you, there's so
on the
much
live stream asking Ancestry about this.
You guys seeing, right?
See how they answer the question.
Account,
so on here,
site
what I do for the head of the household
what is this?
should apply to
Missouri
the
State
entire
Archives,
household,
right? Which
but
is the
that's
gov
not
site.
going to
They say
happen.
that they
So I'm
were
going to add or
upset,
update information.
right?
I'm
Where
going
did
to
it go?
choose
Smith that same year.
info because you cannot get to race from there. Instead of
Smith dispatched a handful of
where it
missionaries
says
to Missouri's
black,
western
it's going
border
to
to preach the
say
restored gospel to the Native
indigenous
American tribes. But when we went to the actual archives, it mentions that they
American.
were talking to
The people
Negroes and
who, that
mulattoes.
Native
Those
Americans
are the
are
Native
so
Americans. It's clear as day.
ridiculously
You don't have anything else
enraged
to say
about
here.
the indigenous American as if they are
Mexican
indigenous
native
American.
trolls.
They know damn
So-
well they didn't come here. They came here and they were not already here.
They declare openly that their God hath given them this country of county
All
of
of a
land, and
sudden
that
they upset
sooner or
about it.
later they must and will have the possession of our
So I
land.
have to choose a reason.
And in fine,
Transcription
they have
error.
of many other cases
That's a
in such
transcription
manner.
error. You don't do
So
that.
these are the slave masters talking about the Mormons. We believe it a duty we owe ourselves to our wives and children, to the cause of public morals, to remove them from among us, as we are not prepared to give up our pleasant places. They didn't want to give up the land.
They need to add more reasons.
Or to receive into the
Then I'm going to explain, and I'm going to drop in
our wives and daughters,
Control
the
V.
degraded and corrupted
Did I not get it the last
and mulattoes that are now invited to settle amongst us. So who were the
I gotta
Mormons
do this.
inviting
Oh, I took pictures.
as
Q
God's chosen
plus
ones
V. Wait, V.
to escape slavery and live
says-
freely in Missouri? They were inviting the colored people.
Oh, Q plus V.
That story proves it right there.
Q,
All you have to do is look, because like I said, there
V.
was no historical accounts of Native Americans in the
Q.
past.
I don't know.
Not to say that there
That was
were
the first time I
indigenous
ever saw
people, we
that.
just weren't called Native American. That's some new shit,
Whatever.
like we just saw.
So
That term
I'm not
didn't
gonna
come
type
out
it
till,
all
like, the
over
1970s.
again. I'm
Okay.
gonna say
Native American came out in 1975. All right. We aren't you and you aren't us, but you need to still have respect. You need to have respect. You know what I mean? Like we come from all of American culture and history is centered around us and our style, our swag, our food. And it's sad that we have to that we have been stripped of stuff. It's sad that some of our languages have been lost forever. Don't say we're trying to laugh and we're reclaiming, not from a movie, but from the actual accounts. We weren't allowed to sit here and say we're in like you guys are now, only because you come from the conquistador. What about those people in Mexico who look like 1 second. I'll get my baby in this, right? Trying to get my hubby's attention. Let me see. What about the brown people who look like this still? Why are they being told they're from Africa? This is Mexico. Why is that so like, you know what I mean? Why aren't you guys understanding what the truth is? Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. These are all our communities, okay? Because there was still more that I wanted to get to. Hold on a second, y'all. I got way off topic, and that's okay. I'll do a really straightforward one, something short. Cornbread, right? We showed how it was the same exact. The woodland tribes are these places that they're don't want to tell us we're indigenous to. Look at those things. So now the important part is for us to come together, because if petitions are how people are getting things done these days, then that ain't nothing. We'll sign a petition, all right? And the petition that I put together, you guys, is this one. Where'd it go? All right, let me click out some of this stuff real quick. I realize I've got everything open. It's sad that we have to sit here and provide so much dang on proof just about who we are.
Okay.
But like I said, you guys are allowing the colonists
try to take another nap before
who you guys actually could be banding together with, because we're fierce. And the American government knows that. That's why they've done so much to try to keep us in the dark. But that's okay, because it's like you
bike
guys are
riding
right in your own
sounds
face right
so
now.
cool.
Let me see. Petition. You guys
Okay,
ready?
well,
So make Ancestry.com
thank you all for joining me.
American communities to the indigenous Americans,
I will
North ones, all right?
try to be here either again sometime this week at random, or I will try to be consistent and be here on Tuesday so we can talk about the weather or what have you. Peace and love, y'all.
Only Americans with communities. Awesome. Awesome.